And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and I am your in-house conservative. To my left, Rob Ambrose, our token liberal. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that it's possible for a lefty and a righty to not only get along, but to be able to have a civil conversation when we disagree. Because never forget, common sense has no political affiliations. What is going on?
Gentlemen, what's happening?
Hey, people.
And just for some of the newer viewers, every Wednesday we do have this guy here in the middle, and you may know him from the chat as NY Varsity Sports. This is Jason,
the guy we always make fun of for drinking
the
gay ass fucking coffee.
The latte pumpkin spice.
That's Jason.
even though I don't even know where that came from.
You're mad because I'm styling on you.
Oh, bro, stand up when you talk to me.
What happens when you have a sugar mom, right?
Yeah, that's
yeah, exactly. You got that, huh?
Harvard-educated sugar mama.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's crazy. It doesn't even fit the definition, but I'm gonna use it from now on. Because sugar moms are usually like older women, and you're usually more attractive than they are.
Yeah. Not the other way.
She's 10 years younger than me, and she's
better looking than you. That means you have a big dick. Let's be honest here. You have to have something.
That's all you
gotta
need.
be something.
A firearm and a very big penis.
Yeah. True. Well, there you go.
That's the American way.
Guys,
that's the American way. Well, good for you, because the American way don't necessarily are capable of seeing their big dick.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, we saw
Trump. So you don't have that problem, right?
I mean, these women too, right?
We saw Trump's yesterday.
They got big titties, but they don't see what's growing under the shade, right?
I thought you were saying that a lot of women don't have problems seeing their big dicks.
No, they don't.
Well,
see that
welcome to the
belly.
conversation, guys. For all the people that are out there joining us, yes, this is the type of
do your sit-ups,
conversation that we have. And no, but we do talk about penises.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Politics and penises.
Yeah,
that would make for a great t-shirt.
The Politics and Penis Show.
That would make for a fucking phenomenal t-shirt. Politics, culture, and penises.
That's all you need.
The Political Orphans.
Speaking of, I had a DM on Twitter the other day, and it was some guy asking me if we were selling merch, because he said he wouldn't mind getting some Political Orphans merch, and I got.
Well, if you can finally get your fucking sister, sorry, I don't mean to say your fucking sister, your sister to fucking do a logo.
Yeah,
I'm tired of fucking asking, motherfucker.
Yeah, you're right. I'll ask. Yeah, because she's a hobby graphic designer. So
because you got a silhouette too.
I have so many political catchphrases, because I've designed. I probably designed 100 different T-shirts. I just never got around to putting them together. So we could do that. The Political Orphans, and I have a bunch of stupid catchphrases to.
Oh fuck yeah!
That will irritate people. Those are my type of T-shirts.
Some inside jokes. Never.
Yeah.
never
why do you hate women so much?
Yeah. Why do you hate women
so much?
Never look them in the eyes.
Like a silhouette of like a bald head and a goatee, and silhouette of a hat.
Yeah.
That would be.
We kind of we were kicking some ideas around, and one of them's kind of like that. Guys, how is it going? So it looks like the chat's lively today already. I just wanted to. Wise Guy said I got on the Discord. It's taking me a while to learn the ins and outs. It took me a little bit too, but once you, where is it here? As Misfit says, once you get on to it, it actually is pretty easy once you get used to it. So just keep kicking.
What's funny is that I created a voice channel where people can go in. I think you can get 100 people or more together to just talk. They can share their cameras and they can just shoot the shit. Wise Guy's always in there. Yesterday didn't even realize he was in there. His microphone's turned on. We can hear everything he's saying. I just joined. I'm like, hey, what are you guys talking about? Misfit joined us. So this is really the type of conversation, the type of environment I wanted to create. So I like it, because eventually, man, just so you guys know, eventually on the Discord server, the idea is for us to, when let's say a Thursday night, there's nothing much going on, we can just chill.
Yeah,
I'll set up a room. You'll probably see me.
Yeah,
yeah. Just a bunch of political people that want to talk about shit. I'll probably be sitting outside with a cigar, enjoying the sun, and we can just have a conversation. Just to, a lot of content creators don't have the balls to talk to their audience directly. A lot of media personalities won't do that either, because would expose the type of assholes that they actually are. But we're different here, right? The whole point of the show is to have interaction. So if we can if you see a value in setting up those rooms and just shooting the shit. I'd love to do it. I love this. So
Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun. Jason, how have you been since last week, brother? Anything new on the go?
No, I'm just I have a podcast this afternoon with Wendy Jones and Ashley Clark with Be Better Media,
That's cool.
and it's
I remember those
like
girls.
you guys. It's like a kind of a free for all, except when I'm in a room with two ladies, I can't be as raunchy.
Of course, yeah.
But the subject matter is really real. At this time, I want to give a shout out to a podcaster named Sabrina Salvati. She's part of Revolutionary Blackout Network, and she started like you guys, just like 6,000 subscribers, right? So what she was doing subject matter, and when the subject matter was like done, she took as many comments as she could, bounced, and once a week she would have a call in on Zoom, and it's like a 500-person room, and it's a great chance to like hear everybody. And I see you guys following that format. And right now, she went from 6,000 subscribers to 197. She's by the end of the week, she's gonna have 200,000 subscribers, and I mean organically. So and she's a truth teller like you. She's these socialists could be all judgy, but if you want the truth, like, because then they don't have an agenda, they're not getting paid to to say something else, that's where you want to go. So shout out to Sabrina Salvati, the Sabby Sabs podcast.
I
love it. Love the idea.
Yeah, is that where you're going on later today, or is that a different one?
No, I'm going on to Be Better Media, but Thursday Sabs has a call in.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, sometimes I got a coach or whatever, but I know they have the call in afterwards, and God, Nico, you get to hear everybody, and the only reason why I brought it up is because you guys have a similar crowd. You have highly intelligent posters. You have even some of the trolls are like, okay, you got me.
We're actually educated trolls.
Educated trolls, yeah.
I got paparazzi'd.
No. They actually Hillbilly yesterday, same thing. Like what he was talking about. I wasn't going against what he was saying. I was going at the way he was approaching it. Because what he was saying, a lot of the stuff, I'm like, bro, I can see what you're saying. Do I agree or disagree?
Hillbillies too.
Hillbilly. Bro, I spent time in Virginia, right? We were in this RV park in Virginia, almost on almost West Virginia, like right at the border of Virginia and West Virginia. And one of the guys that ran the ground, he's the son. Think about this fucking monster, 6'4", 300 pounds, 280 pounds, like this big fucking redneck. He has, those four-wheelers that are covered that have the top, they're two-seaters. He has the 12-gauge shotgun loaded on a gun rack behind him. Like that gives you the idea, right? First day we got there, we got a flat. We actually got a flat right before the ground. We parked. He comes up, didn't even ask. He just saw us work. Boop. He takes the tire up, replaces it. Super nice guy. But I assume he was just a dumb redneck, right? Just because he looks. We start talking. The guy has a PhD in agriculture. He's an extremely. I start talking to the guy. He's fucking brilliant, but he looks like a fucking redneck. My best friend in Alabama is, croc wearing, like he's a dad, like he's a Christian dad. Imagine overweight with the Crocs. He looks like nothing. Professor in history. Extremely intelligent guy. So I've learned through my travels not to what's the term I'm looking for? Don't underestimate rednecks because of what they look like. A lot of them, they might have a really thick accent, which I know what it is. Right?
Yeah.
But they're yet extremely fucking intelligent.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, as you said, like, I guess one way that you know that you got a high quality show is even when your trolls are high quality.
Smart. We got smart trolls. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
We got retards in special.
Yeah.
Because of TikTok.
I saw this from one guy. I kind of like that. I think we cover topical news a little more than Rogan does. But I like the idea because that's kind of the format in a way that we're sort of going for. Rogan, except for everyone's involved in the show, not just the people on the show.
That's because the thing is, there's a lot of guys. But I started my podcast. My first podcast was Joe Rogan. I'd sit down with people that I like, and we'd have a conversation.
Yeah.
But I think it's more than just.
Yeah. But it can't believe that this man's coming from an innocent place. You know what I'm saying? He just wants to have a conversation. Sorry, Nico, but these people are like, there's no way he can make all this money and not sell out and not be beholden to someone. But when I ask,
he never has from the get-go.
I'm like, who's he beholden to? right? And he's not really beholden to Spotify. Spotify can fire him. He can keep his 100 million, and Rumble already offered to match that. So
they will never fire the guy.
jealousy.
Never.
That's a good
There's a
point.
huge amount of jealousy that this man just wants to have a conversation. And if people don't want to listen to the news, how about the news? How about y'all do a better job? Because that's not Joe's job to bring you the news. How about CNN, Fox, whatever, mainstream or corporate media? Do your fucking job. Why are we doing a better job than them? Right? And it's not even our job to bring the news. We're just trying to have a conversation. And Canadian politics came up, right? So that's a current event, right? Me being on this podcast, that's a current event.
You're probably much more informed about Canadian politics than you ever have been. Just
look at the title of today, right? Is Canada's mainstream media biased? Obviously it is. But who's supposed to pick up the ball? Guys like us.
Yeah,
this is who's picking up the ball, and this is why, like, Joe Rogan. I'm gonna play the video later on, but Joe Rogan kind of called out Pierre Poliev for refusing to going on his podcast. He's like, seriously, bro? Like, seriously?
Well,
you refuse to go? Oh, fuck! Is that ever a mistake? But the thing is in Canada, it's even more important to have people like us because we don't have a right-leaning media. Like, you guys have Fox. There's a clear definition between the left and the right in the US. Like, news-wise, you go CNN, MSNBC, you go Fox on the other side. Canada, we have CBC, CTV News, and they claim to be unbiased. And CBC gets $1.4 billion every year from the federal government, taxpayers' money, but they claim to be unbiased. So we don't have a mainstream media on the right. The only thing that we have are like the Rebel News and somewhat Juno News, which are self-funded. Like, this is just people that started a business of informing the people. Now, is it media or not? Left for interpretation. But the point is that if you don't have people like us, especially in Canada, talking about the other side of the story or what the mainstream media is not telling you, where else are you going to get your information?
Yeah, absolutely.
So to go back, I just want to go back to his comment. Not only are we going for more of a open conversation like Joe Rogan, we do it live. But one thing that we do that I haven't seen anybody else do is that 90% of our time is spent talking to people. Like, so there's a lot of people that do live shows, but they do not interact the way that we do with you guys. And this was the intent.
You got to drop because of that too.
Yeah, I think
we went from having 5-6 super. I used to have 5-6 videos, massive amount of research to make sure I could. Now Rob and I are like,
one or two topics. We
want to interact. We want to make it about what people think. We want people to share their opinion. We will show our bias from left and right, our views. And then anywhere else, we want the comment from the people. And that's why we started a Discord server, right? Because a lot of the shit that I want to talk about as a conspiracy theorist, I can't talk about on here. So I'm going to start putting all that shit on the Discord server so that we can drive that conversation over there. So here is more, I don't want to say politically correct because there's no such thing as politically correct in my blood. Like, no, zero. I'm not correct at all. But I know where the lines are, right?
Yeah.
Discord, there's none. There's not going to be any censorship. I'm the one fucking running it. So so that's why the Discord is so important. But the conversation here, guys, if you're new to this, understand that we do this because we want to talk to you. Yes, we want to talk about mainstream media. We want to talk about Smith. We want to talk about Carney. We want to talk about Trump. But that's it. That's all we got. The rest is interact with us and we take your comments, right?
Well, and I think one of the things that we've been trying to do, and I think so far we've been pretty successful at it, is, there are some shows where they'll take a question here or there, but that's not really what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make the audience part of the show. And I think there's a fundamental difference in that. It really isn't about me and you. It's about everybody, and we're gonna, as Nico said, if you are new to the show, please stick around. But you'll see this is heavily based on audience engagement and participation. You guys really are the content. You guys are the show. We're just sort of the curators of it.
Yeah, but hey, let's get those subject matter drivens, man. Are definitely going to inspire even more conversation.
Exactly.
What's on your radar today, guys?
Well, as you can see, we've got
'Cause these fuckers don't tell me.
yeah, Jason just shows up. He's like, yeah, whatever, just wing it.
Yeah, but you know, I was thinking about this as I was walking my dog this morning. You know, Rob and I had debated. I've been asking Rob since we started this about 4 months ago. Are we a North American podcast? Are we an American podcast? Are we a Canadian podcast that focuses on North America? And I'm a sales engineer by trade, right? So I'm always looking at the numbers, always looking at what seems to be working and what people are responding to. And we've come to realize that we are a Canadian podcast for Canadians and Americans. We will cover North America, but we are a Canadian podcast. So I was thinking about this morning. And again, just to tell you how we don't talk to Jason before the show. And I didn't even address that with Rob yet, but we'll do it live in front of you guys.
Yeah.
No, but I think that since we've been concentrating more on Canada news and how what's going on in North America is impacting Canada, having an American as a contributor is even more important now.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I was thinking that you can bring that kind of the aspect of what is Canada looking like from an American's perspective. Because I even got a couple of videos of Fox News talking about Daniel Smith, where they're like, can you believe that this is what's going on? Joe Rogan talks about it. Fox News is talking about it. So for the first time as that I can remember in my life where I've been talking about politics, Americans are so interested in what's going on in Canada. It's insane. So having you on finally makes sense. Like before, it was just
finally we found a place for you.
I like how he's not even, man. You must be good at poker, asshole.
But to add on to that, a lot of the topics we're going to talk about, especially like for example the one today, a lot of these issues are issues everywhere, all over the West, right? Like for example, media bias is an issue in America as well. So it's not, obviously Jason's going to have some insight into that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of, I think when we discuss, what direction we want the show to go, we were kind of like, let's just play it out, and the show will let us know. And I think the show has let us know. But
Rob, nobody gives you an American's perspective more than a gangster trying to survive the mean streets of
the beach. That's right? Truly authentic. Truly authentic, right? Truly authentic. But yeah, I mean, I also think that a lot of the issues that we are sort of going to tackle from a cultural perspective, they're relevant in Canada, but they're also relevant in America. They're relevant in Europe, in the UK, in Australia, all over the Western world. So by no means are we going to limit ourselves. It's just, we know our audience, and it seems like it's probably the natural audience because we were both Canadian as well. So it seems like that's the natural thing, but we're always going to cover international topics. Speaking of which, so India and Pakistan are in a war, eh? That's interesting.
Oh. Well, they've been at war forever. But
I think it got hot.
Like each other.
Yeah, I think it got hot last night.
It's already hot. It's very hot over there.
Very hot. Yeah, I don't know that that's necessarily a topic we tackle here, but certainly relevant.
Not yet. We will.
It might be.
Right?
But once Trump and Canada get involved,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to breathe a little bit.
Residual war, but it's made national news for, I guess, some other reason that the three of us or the two of you might want to explore. Later time.
It will become a big deal in Canada because we have a massive Indian population.
Yeah, because
we literally have I think we have the second or third biggest Indian population outside of India. So I think we're number 2 or the biggest population outside of India.
I believe it's the biggest outside India.
Yeah, it's either us or the UK. It's one or the other. I can't remember which one, but we're top 2 biggest.
And you can see it's already influenced our politics, right? You see, like Poli out there wearing, the headdress that's relevant to them, and you can see it. So you could certainly imagine Canada might actually play a role that seems outside.
It will. There's no doubt. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before Indians in Canada gets involved. Like in the same way as you saw Muslim people support Gaza, right? Like it's just a matter of time before it gets topical here. So
Yep, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's
That's
some
right.
if it becomes news, we will definitely cover it. So
That's ironic. I only knew about Gaza because of Jewish people. Like in America, the only way you found out was from
Yeah.
Jewish people.
Yeah,
Who they
that's
call
right.
self-hating Jews, which by the way is anti-Semitic.
Should I take a couple of these comments? before
yeah,
we get
let
into
me yeah, before you do, let me ask you guys a question. The question of the day: Do you believe that we should support our Canadian media with taxpayers' money? Do you
Yeah.
think that places like CBC should be funded by taxpayers' money when clearly they're biased? I don't think anybody with a head on their shoulders with critical thinking or with any type of common sense can say that they're unbiased and they report the news, because clearly they don't. So considering that they're not biased, considering that they're not unbiased or that they're biased, should we fund them? That's
Yeah,
the
so-
question I have for you guys today.
And that's sort of the theme that we're going to go with, sort of answer Jason's question about, hey guys, what are we talking about today? We are obviously talking about media bias, specifically through the lens of the two big events that happened yesterday. Danielle Smith's press conference, where she took some questions from the media, and Donald Trump and Mark Carney's meeting in the Oval Office. If you guys were following those stories, what did you think about the media coverage? We've got some clips we're going to play, but just what's your feel based on what you saw? Did you think it was fair? Did you think there was it was biased in favor of Mark Carney or against Mark Carney? I mean, I don't think anybody thinks that. But yeah, so that's sort of the kind of get your mindset in the right spot as we take some of these questions, and then we'll get into the topics here.
Do you want to plug the Discord before we do?
Yeah, let's do that. So again, if you whether you're new or not, if you're not new, then you probably have heard this speech a little bit lately, and you'll probably hear it a little bit more, because we are trying to build the Discord community. But it is something that we've created over the past couple of days, and if you're a member here, which is as low as $2.99 a month, which really supports us, you'll get access over there. You can still go over there, the Political Orphans Discord channel. You'll just be on. I don't know if it's fully read only. You won't be able to make comments or posts. You can react and shower.
You can
us
see
with
everything.
emojis.
You can react. You just can't comment or share. Yep.
Yeah, and that's sort of the community that we're creating here. Moved over there, so it's 24/7. So it exists even when we're not, live here on the show. So if you, as you watch this show, if you think that there's a place for this kind of content in the political discourse today, you want to support us, you want to be part of this community, please go over there, or become a member here. And your membership on YouTube will give you priority comments on here, and it will give you access to the Discord server over there. And
You're getting pretty good at this, bro.
Yeah, getting there. Not just a pretty face, but we'll mention this another couple times throughout the show, so bear with us if you've heard it before.
But make sure to like, make sure to comment, guys. If you're new to this on YouTube, especially if you're new to this, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like. Please comment. This is the whole point of the show. If you're on X, comment as well. Obviously.
Yep.
Join us on YouTube.
Super chat as well.
Yeah. But join us on X. If you're on X, join us on YouTube. The interface is so much better to be chatting there.
To interact. You'll see all the comments over there. Yeah, it's a lot better.
But if you want to stay on X, make sure to share the stream. That will help us out a lot. And if you're on Rumble, I'm looking at my Rumble right now, and you can stay there if you really dislike YouTube. I get it.
All right. Sasquatch Chronicles says Canadians can the Canadians send a booster seat with their PM next time he comes to Washington?
I was actually thinking exactly
I had a hard time
yesterday.
seeing him over the coffee table. I've actually got a picture or a video of them meeting for the first time. And yeah, the body language, it's just Trump's like just a caveman towering over him. And, on the one hand, yeah, maybe that stuff doesn't matter, but it really actually does.
No, it does.
I mean, even these are big, high-level discussions and big picture stuff going on. You can't completely ignore the small picture stuff. The personal man-to-man interactions, body language, that kind of stuff. It always matters.
Well, what was funny is, as I mentioned yesterday, I did a video with my mother-in-law that's 4'11". I'm 6'1". I'm between 6'1" and 6'2". I'm literally twice her size. And she's trying to act tough with me, and she's giving me attitude. And I just recorded leaning down, as in, what's the view that I get when I show it to her afterwards? She's like, are you serious? Is that what you see when I'm trying? Yeah. So I can only imagine.
Should have edited it to speed it up and
you have to do 2 cameras. You have to have one pointing down and then one looking at my face trying to stay serious. But this is what I saw between Trump and Carney. Like, as much as size shouldn't matter, you got a guy that's 6'2", something like 260, 280. And then you got a guy that looks like he's 5'3", weighs 120 pounds, soaking wet with rocks in his pockets. And he's talking about elbows up, elbows up. The only thing I noticed yesterday is that the only reason his elbows are up so he can grab Trump's dick to suck it. Like, that's the only reason he's been saying elbows up. So, Jason, welcome to the political orphans.
Did this story cut into the mainstream yesterday, like on the American side? Did you, like, outside the show, did you hear much about this at all?
We only saw like a clip. They didn't really
just like
there wasn't a lot of audio of the conversation. There was just a clip of what Nika was talking about. This big guy that was just interested in this little guy. I mean, it looked like a new skull at Rikers Island, for Christ's sakes. It was just like, all right, we need to establish some rules. What's going to be happening here for years, right? That's kind of what it looked like to the Americans. But from the conservative perspective, it looked like Trump was just reaching out with an olive branch to the people who to a country that may have prior to antagonized him. And to the Republicans, it was normal Trump because, again, Trump had a vice president that called him Hitler, has a health secretary that called him an existential threat, and has an intel leader that called him a pimp for the Saudis, right? So he does understand the value of an olive branch. He does understand that his ego still he has to be the smartest guy in the room and the biggest and the strongest guy in the room. And I think people are working their way around that, because as long as this man's president, you have to do that. So that's the Republican perspective. From the Democratic perspective, they're like, of course, he's intimidating, he's a bully, Trump can walk on water. And these guys would be like, it's because Trump's too fat to swim, right? So there's this level of haterade served in vanilla is always going to be there. But for me, since our country's 41% independent, we thought it was just a meeting, and we thought this is what world leaders are supposed to do. I look forward to him talking to the leader of China, getting back on board with the leader of Korea, Russia. Get Zelensky back in the room. We make peace with our friends and enemies. We don't make peace with just the people we love.
Yeah, I mean, like, I see those complaints by the Democrats saying, "Oh, he's a bully, he's this and that," but like, don't you kind of want that from your leader? Like, don't you kind of want someone who's a bit of
I'd much rather that than a guy, bro. Yeah. We have a little 5'4" guy that raises his hand, expecting somebody to give him the microphone. Like, are you serious? Like, no, hold on. I found something yesterday. They were saying that Carney spoke for about 3.5 minutes.
I saw
Trump, that 27 minutes, because Carney's like, hey. Oh, okay, not my time. No, not my. Not my turn. But yet the boomers elected that guy to stand up, which is fucking hilarious when you think about the expression "standing up to Trump." Trump doesn't even see you if you're behind a counter.
Right.
But he's going to stand up to Trump. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, Nico, I'd like to say something. His height only shows weakness shows, right?
Yeah.
A few years ago, Bill O'Reilly had a debate with Jon Stewart. So what Jon Stewart
Repeat that again. Can you repeat what you said again? Because that was good. That was
Bill O'Reilly had a debate.
No, the height part?
Prior to that. Yeah, your height part, because that was awesome. I want everybody to hear that. Say that again. That was brilliant.
Yeah, he only looks little by height because he's showing littleness and mentality and weakness.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
A few years ago, a decade ago, Bill O'Reilly debated with Jon Stewart, right? And Jon Stewart, what everyone didn't know, he had a platform he could stand on, because Jon Stewart is an entire foot shorter than Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly's huge.
I didn't know Stewart was short.
So Jon Stewart had an elevated platform, and every time Bill O'Reilly raised his voice, he'd press a button, and the platform would go like this. And he would get taller with it, right? And it was an inside joke because nobody really saw the height difference because Jon Stewart is a big personality. Jon Stewart in these debates, plant their feet, and again, once again, that's the history of America. We have comedians that are better debaters than the politicians are, right? And so everyone gets to debate except Joe Rogan, right? but anyway.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
And, not looking.
That's a great point because obviously we kind of chirping a little bit on Carney for being small, but I'm sure we've all known people like this. I've known, especially in the army, I knew several guys who were probably 5'3", but they just took over every room they were in just because they had a big personality, and you knew they were short. You knew if you looked down on them like physically, but the feeling was never one of a small person. The feeling next to them was that this is a big person. So it's not really about height, right? It's not really about physical stature. What we're talking about is force of personality.
It's about being bigger. It's about being bigger.
Yeah, force of personality and character and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And just so you guys know, Robbie knows exactly what he's talking about, considering he's like, what, 5'7", 5'8"?
I keep getting shorter here, bro. I'm gonna
at one point you're gonna be ahead. You're just gonna be ahead on a countertop.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm 6'1", but that's not even average for California.
Are you actually 6'1"?
No, huge.
You're absolutely right, because I'm 6'1", 230, and I'm walking around in the U.S., especially down south. I'm literally average. Guys are walking around 4 or 5 inches taller than me, 100 pounds bigger. Like, it's insane how big people are in the U.S.
But I
thought I would highlight Robin.
Centimeters, so whatever that is.
Yeah, of course. You can say whatever the fuck you want. It's like they're gonna just take it. But Robin says it's a sausage fest in here. We really have cool listeners, huh? It's a sausage fest. So you want to take some of those comments there, Robbie?
Yeah, let's get that. Let's see where were we? Yeah, Misfit says Carney looks like he needed a booster seat. Yeah, I mean he did. And again, he could be small and be a big personality, but I don't get that vibe from him. Yeah. Tenchi, welcome. I'm not sure if we've seen you here before, but hopefully you stick around. Appreciate the comment. He says, I want to know how liberal voters feel now that they're pro-Trump. Yeah, honestly, I saw a lot of cope. I saw a lot of like, fucking Carney really mopped the floor with him. And I'm like, I don't know where you're getting this from. I certainly did not see that in any stretch. I also didn't see, I don't think Trump is trying to mop the floor with Carney either. I saw pretty friendly. I saw Carney seemed timid and nervous to me. That was the vibe that I got. And to be a little bit fair, I'm sure that it's got to be somewhat intimidating to go into the Oval Office just for some reasons that have nothing to do with Donald Trump, just the history of the United States, of that office, of the men that have sat there before him. And then you put a guy with Trump's personality there, and I have no doubt that it's got to be a little bit intimidating, but you're the fucking leader of the country. That's what you're getting paid to do, is to stand up to people like that.
You were elected on standing up to Trump.
Literally, that was your platform.
The only thing you talked about was, I will stand up to Trump. And when you were there, you looked like a little bitch. You literally sat there and just took it. Like I said yesterday, I'm sure that he wiped the cum off his mouth before he stepped in the room with Trump. Like, it's insane. I do not understand how people can actually look at this and say, you know what? This is exactly what I voted for. Yet, as we were speaking right now, just let me show this. Like, this is exactly what we're talking about today. How's that fucking possible? Like, Dan Kavanaugh, 23,000 views on X, is saying that this is why I voted for Mark Carney. Look at him. Just look.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The body language.
I don't understand.
The only thing worse than this was Justin Trudeau with his flashy socks and his leg crossed like a woman. That was the only thing that's worse than that. But you look at this, does that show strength to you or not? Like, you look at this, forget who they are. If you look at this, does Carney look confident? He looks weak. Trump is just like, man, he's almost going to put his hand down his pants à la Ted Bundy. like just chill there holding his dick as he's talking to the press. Like, you couldn't be more comfortable than Trump in that picture. And look at Carney. He's just like, what am I doing here? But yet he ran a full platform on I will stand up to Trump.
Yeah, that's it.
Look like he's
That's what.
Can you appreciate why he was intimidated? You sit there, right?
Yeah, oh,
and you talk
no.
all this shit about this guy, and now he's in the same room with you. There's going to be a level of psychological apprehension that leads to physical, like a physical, like a schizoid personality, you know?
Mm-hmm. The thing that you're bringing up a good point, and it's worth me mentioning it. I'm not saying that sitting in the same room as Trump is easy. I'm not saying that standing up, that going to, as Rob said, in the fucking White House. Is there something more mystical than the fucking White House in the US? You're sitting in the fucking room with 50 people
basically
shoving
the
microphones
center of
in
power
your face.
of the entire world, if you want to think about it like that.
100%. Some of the greatest men in politics were there.
Grace that room.
But it's also
he ran a full campaign. The reason I ripped into him so much.
That was his main one.
His only reason he got elected is because he said for more than a month, I'm the one to stand up to Trump. And Pierre Poliev is just like mini Trump. Yet we found yesterday that they're pretty fucking good friends. Obviously, you can see by the interaction. He almost he praised him. I have a video just showing that, how he praised him when he started the interview. Like, the interview started, I'm like, oh Jesus, do you work for Trump? Like, who the fuck are, like, you're the one standing up right now? This is why I'm ripping into him, because he sold the idea that Trump was the enemy and that he is the one to stand up to Trump. Yet you look at this, you're like, that's standing up? Wow, I wonder what backing down would look like.
You know, you guys need to know something about Nico before we go on, okay? When he's not on this podcast, I'm talking about big cocks and dodging jizz shots. What he does on his spare time,
something he knows very well.
What he does on his spare time is he teaches men how to be men. When I first met this guy, he teaches men how to be men, and the reason why he's spot on, he's bang on, as you guys would say, on this assertion, is because when you associate with men in person or on the phone or whatever, you're able to diagnose what people are like. A year ago, I'm on the phone with somebody, you know, in volleyball relations or whatever, and he's like, you think you're hood, you're not about that life, you're about this life. And I'm trying to talk to him, right? No, you ain't about that life. So I said the one line that brought everybody back to Jesus, and the one line was, when you see me, I said, when you see me, come with that same energy. And then it was a 10-second silence. Or I said, or we can talk like men. And now that's a year ago. So now fast forward to Carney, right? He planted his feet.
Bang on.
He talked a good game. And the reason why I support Nico on this is because, and people in the comment section, guys, when you've been on this earth long enough, you're able to diagnose if someone's kind of about that life or if they're not. You know, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm not, and I'm not about that life. But I know who. I look around.
You know who is.
It's not you. So, but just wanted to point that out.
No, that's a good point. And you know, there are definitely people who would say, "Oh, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter." You know, we're past that kind of primitive, you know, just chest thumping. But the fact is, we aren't. We're still.
When he's in the same room, what happened?
Yeah. I mean, you can get a whole lot done based on personal charisma if you have a good working relationship with another leader. You still like personal relationships still matter even when you're playing for the biggest stakes in the world. Right. And as Nico said, you know, I think if he hadn't made the central aspect of his campaign about how tough he was and how much he's going to stand up to Trump, you could maybe give him a pass on some of this stuff. But like, once you put your chips in the middle like that, it's time to you got to pay the piper.
Zelensky.
but see, those are some of the comments that I've seen. People are saying, "Oh, he did so well to be behaved and keeping his composure."
I'm like, he was trying to not shit his pants, man. That's all
this was not composure. He was scared shitless. And this is the problem. I have more respect for Zelensky to go in there and at least say what's on his mind. As much as I disagree with him and I dislike the man, I can still show respect because he said what he wanted to say. Was he wrong? Absolutely. Did he get ridiculed for it afterwards? Oh, fuck yes, he did. But he still said, my image of Zelensky did not change. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's always the guy that goes like a beggar and asks people for money, and he continued doing it when he was there. It's just that Carney won on being a tough guy, and he's just a little bitch.
Turned out the rat turned out to be a mouse, right? I get that.
Yeah,
But Nico, I think what you guys really want is just someone you could be proud of, all right? I'm going to give you a Democrat and a Republican. Barack Obama, when the rest of the world looked at the United States and says, who's their president? And you saw it was that guy, they were like, cool. All right.
He had a charisma.
Insane,
No
and, you know,
no
and he
doubt.
stands up for himself. When you saw it was Trump, it felt like the temperature got turned up. But when you're in the room with the guy, things get, I mean, again, I'm not a Trump fan, and I never will be, but I'm not blind either, right? Everyone that's actually sat and talked to him, they leave the room with a different impression, right? Mm-hmm. The only ones that don't are the media, you know, that are trying to ask him questions, and not innocent questions, but questions for calls for conclusion. Yep. And when Trump's is like, I see what you're doing, you're fake news, right? You know, of course, they're going to leave with a different opinion, but Rogan's not even a Democrat. He's an independent. He's the guy that supports universal basic income, same-sex marriage, and said, I'm voting for Trump. So
yeah.
He moves the needle. One thing I think we can all agree, love Trump or hate Trump, he's always going to move the needle. He is not for the status quo, right? There's no such thing as status quo with Trump, and I respect that, because that to me is a leader.
And
you love Trump or hate
Canada. You just wanted a leader.
But one of the baddest moves that Trump ever done during his first presidency, he went, I think it must have been the UN nation. He was at the US nation, one of the Saudi Arabian, one of the Saudi
when he
sitting there.
That orb or whatever. Yeah.
No. Oh, I don't remember what he had, but you're not supposed to touch. You're not allowed by law to touch princes in Saudi.
Yeah.
He walks up to him.
This man handles the guy,
claps him on his shoulder, doesn't even stay, continues walking. The Saudi prince is like,
what's happening?
It's like, who dare touch me? And he doesn't see anybody. Trump's already gone. He's just power move. Just like,
hey, I like that. Honestly, I like that. I like that.
I love it. Just smacks his shoulder. He knows he's not supposed to do it, but
he's like,
this was better.
That's a hard. That's a hard power.
Call me an infidel. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, what's worse than a guy that gives you the finger without giving you the finger by being super polite and ignoring you? Well, it was perfect. The power move was like,
well, that's it.
And
the Trump haters will be like, oh, look how stupid he is. Look how dumb. He doesn't know what to do. He's like, no, man, that was a power move.
Exactly
that
what
was
he did.
That was a power move. That's a power move.
It doesn't always work. I'm just glad him and Putin, you know.
Get a couple of these, just the ones, especially the ones that relate to the question of the day.
What does that one say?
But Robin, you're absolutely right. What's the HOC? Sorry, my ignorance. What's HOC? Nico, you would be kicked out of the HOC in a nanosecond. There's no political correctness in your voice, as far as I can hear. No, there's none. Zero. I have a lot of respect for people, but I don't really give a fuck if I hurt your feelings. Check the mirror. That's not my problem.
And Nick says, even the supposed unbiased print media is biased. Reference to the question of the day, Globe Mail and National Post. Yeah, I agree, Nick. And the fact of the matter is I think the bias is so deep they don't even realize it's there. I think these people genuinely do not believe that they are biased. They can't help it. They just
at least they're very good at convincing us that that's what they believe.
I should clarify. I'm sure there are some,
but this is a fine line, right? We don't know.
Yeah. There are some for sure who know it, but I think many of them honestly think that they are not, and just they have no other choice. Now that doesn't make it okay. At the end of the day, if the bias is there, that's what the problem is. Their intention is irrelevant.
But they're never questioned, right? That's the problem. Is that there's no opposition mainstream media in Canada like you guys have in the US.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And as of the question, as we continue to read the comments, what's the next comment say?
Wise Guy says mainstream media is a propaganda arm of the deep state. It is absolutely legal for them to lie to us, and that's exactly what they do. Brought to you by
Pfizer. Sip.
Yeah. Make sure to get your 14th booster.
For you to, what's the speech? Can you go on the spill there,
I?
Jason? Save our asses on that one.
All right.
Yeah.
Listen, for YouTube purposes, vaccines are safe and effective. And if you haven't had your 8th booster right now, question mark in parentheses, you can all burn in hell.
Yes, exactly. You're
I should
anti-American.
record your voice, bro.
You hate freedom. Yeah, because it's very professional.
I should, one of my thing, I want to buy a radio board. You know, when they used to have back in the days, psoo, psoo, I have like special effect on the hand. That would be one of them. Every time we go somewhere.
Well, let's do it again this week and loop it, okay? For YouTube purposes, vaccines are safe and effective. And if you haven't had your 8th booster yet, question mark in parentheses, you hate freedom.
Yep. You can roast. You deserve to die of gonorrhea and rot in hell.
Yeah.
Wow.
Basically what Biden said and forgot.
It was from that first Ace Ventura. I don't know if you remember that one where they go to the kicker, Ray Finkel. They go to his house. The sweet old mother's got the footballs. Dan Marino deserves to die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Misfit says China also looking to take Taiwan again. Yeah, I mean, lots of shit going on in the world, and while that isn't like directly related to the show, we absolutely will be covering that kind of stuff if and when it happens. Robin, we definitely need a reform in the media. I think that's true. And just to go back to the question of the day, I think there was a place for the CBC when it stuck to things like just playing hockey, Hockey Night in Canada. Funding maybe Canadian TV shows that we all grew up on that probably wouldn't get funded by
my cartoons on Saturday, Sunday were kind of on stuff. CBC. That was cool. It was on woke. It was just. I remember sitting in front of the TV with my cereal. It's starting.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. What's that?
In America, we had something called Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh yeah, exact same thing, right?
These things
or even Sesame Sea, right?
They would put them
Sesame
in.
Street, sorry.
Yeah, Nico, they put it in song. For example, hey, did you hear about the USA? Did you hear about the continent? Did you hear about the Constitution?
Or the how the bill gets made? Do you remember how the bill gets made? Yeah.
Conjunction, junction.
What's your function? Yeah.
Educational tools.
All reasonable things. And if they stuck with that kind of stuff, I would be there, supporting them. But they didn't.
I'd be open to the idea.
Yeah, they did.
I don't say that I would want to, but I'd be open to the idea. But we should have, just like Daniel Smith is doing in Alberta, they're having a referendum as to should we consider, like she's allowing the space for the people to ask the question. If they have enough votes, she'll run a referendum to see if people want to separate. We should do the same thing in Canada. We should ask the people, should we support media with taxpayers' money? We should just ask the question and say yes, no, if not, because just like I think it's Therese that's saying this, no, they need to make it on their own. And this is how I see it. If as a business,
do we have a poll?
As a business, what do you mean?
Like a YouTube poll or whatever, like yes, no.
I actually think we can run one.
Oh shit, can I?
Yeah.
Start a poll! Yeah. It's not hard, bro. There's a button that says start a poll.
Rob, you in the audience, right? Here's a question for everybody. If not state supported, the media is going to have to get paid and function in some other form. So the only other option is to have big donors and big corporations do that, and if it's big pharma, then of course you're beholden to them. So choosing between the state sponsoring your media and big pharma and big business sponsoring your media is the choice of being getting raped by Jack the Ripper or getting fingered by Captain Hook. Right? It doesn't seem like, I don't mean to shrink it in this dichotomy, but
I think that's a good point, Jason.
The people supported, right? I mean, how do you get that? Because to me, the government, a big business in the United States are in it together.
Yeah. They have interests that are aligned, right?
We can't listen. They say we can't close our borders, right? But we can lock down an entire country. We can keep people in their houses and they can wear masks.
Can't keep them out. But we can keep them in.
An experimental gene therapy, right? At least Trump showed we can close down the border.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it kind of goes back to something we talked about earlier in the show. Is who's the media now? Are people like us on this show? Are we the media now? And I think in a lot of ways we are, and in a lot of ways too, I think we're a little reluctant. Because me and for example, me and Nico, we'll regularly say, look, we're not media, we're not journalists, we've got our biases. We're going to put them on the table and give you the news, give you the facts. Right. But maybe that's the future. You know what I mean? Maybe because essentially we would be by de facto crowd funded. Any show like this, even a Joe Rogan is crowd funded, right? Just by the eyeballs that are watching him.
Yeah.
And that's probably the only way you're ever going to get truly unbiased media, because as you said, if it's going to be funded by someone, it's not government, it's going to be the big pharmas, it's going to be the big business, it's going to be big whatever the fuck is out there that has a narrative to push. And yeah, I think in a lot of ways there's a major credibility crisis with journalism and media. Yeah. And I think people like us, we never sought this out, but perhaps it'll land on people like us, shows like this.
But the difference,
do a better job. Sorry.
Yeah.
The thing is that the major difference is that I don't claim to be unbiased.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't claim to be a journalist. I will report on the news, but as soon as I'm done reporting, you're going to hear my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I'm always going to come from a more conservative place as a Christian. So I'm biased. From the get-go, I'm biased. This is the problem. And our media tells us that. Of course not. No. If only the CBC would have the balls to say so.
They insist till they're blue in the face that they are neutral. And then we see it with our own fucking eyes. We know that you're not.
Yeah.
Stop gaslighting us.
I do not claim to have the truth. I don't claim to have the truth. But if I can set something in your mind that will make you research, awesome. Question everything, especially what I tell you. Don't believe me, go research it. Hopefully I can just give you that little tap to say, yeah, maybe he has a point, but let's prove it to myself that he does have a point or he's full of shit. If I can create that in people, I've done my job. That's all I want.
And I think there's something to be said about the nobility of just a free exchange of ideas, right? Like,
absolutely.
If the people say you should be an expert at this or an expert at that, there are very few podcasts where experts are going to ask themselves the questions they already know the answers to, right? Mm-hmm. So and for me, just not you guys, but for me, it takes a moron for me to introduce the topic to inspire everybody else to answer it together, right? It is not our responsibility. We're not the news. We're not promising to bring you the news. It's not our responsibility to deliver, like you said, something that's fair and balanced. If you're coming from an unfair place, then the only thing we owe them is to tell them we're coming from an unfair place, right? Like, for me, you would think I'm the biggest Trump fan ever the last few episodes. I do not like the guy. I do not respect the guy. But critical thinking is not a team sport. And as long as you guys keep coming from this freaking honest place, everyone's going to keep coming back at you. And then you're going to be big where you're going to have to survive attacks. Like Joe Rogan literally had Midas Touch, which is a Democratic super PAC funded media group of tech guys that are hired guns that are designed to take down people. For an entire year, they came after Joe Rogan for the N-word thing. They did a compilation video of the N-word that he said 15 years ago. They came after him for COVID. They came after him for transphobia. They came after him for being a right-winger. They came after him for being a Bernie bro, and being paid millions and millions of dollars. These three guys, Midas Touch. And also, guys, Patriot Takes is also part of Midas Touch. So if you see them on whatever, they have an agenda. Maybe they're telling the truth, but take it with a grain of salt.
What's interesting about... I just want to add... all right, go ahead.
No, it's because you guys are going to go on a rant before I forget. I added a poll to the YouTube chat. So if you guys can confirm that you see it, I believe that you do, but I'll try to remember to do that every single day. So the question of the day will be set up on the poll so that you guys can answer, and we should start compiling them, or at least be aware of what you guys think. So again, if you're new to this, if you're the first time on this show, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, make sure, because we're here to talk to you guys. So if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, comment. If you're on X, make sure to restream this. This is how you can help us. Go ahead, continue.
Yep, and I'll just want to add one thing on to Jason. Then we'll probably take a couple more comments on this, and then we'll actually get into the content because it's almost an hour.
1 hour late.
But one thing I find really interesting about what Jason was saying is, ironically, I feel like if you kind of come at it from an honest perspective, but not even try to be fair and balanced, just say, here's our biases, here's how we feel, and then report facts. When you start from that position, you actually end up at a much more fair and balanced place than you ever do with the so-called fair and balanced media. It's a weird sort of paradox about information, if you think about it. And as Nico said, there's nothing wrong with bias. We all have them. The problem comes when you either lie to yourself or you lie to your audience about your biases. Pretend they aren't there. And I think, I think there's probably both going on. I think they're lying to their audiences, and I think they're also lying to themselves. And that's even much more dangerous, because then they really have no idea where the line is. They don't know their biases. And so I think if you know yourself, know your biases, and you come at every issue with a place of good faith and get together with people like in this community, other people coming at it in honesty and good faith, even if our positions are all over the map, you're really going to end up, I think, at a place that is actually much more fair and balanced than anywhere you would ever get with the media.
Damn.
So it's kind of, it's kind of an interesting sort of add on to what you were saying, Jason.
It's always fun watching people like Chris Cuomo spend 2 years trashing a medication like ivermectin, and now he has his own show. Now he's not on CNN anymore. He's taking it.
What direction did he go in after he left CNN? Is he kind of in the Joe Rogan-ish kind of like?
Well, he's a free thinker, but he doesn't go too far because he knows the door is still open.
Yeah, so he wants back in. He wants back into like
Rogan. Rogan, and they're different because Rogan doesn't bring you the news. And I need to remind people, and this might be the Rogan podcast. If you look at his last 100 guests, right? How many of them are politicians? Like maybe 5 out of every 100. And you're talking 2,200 episodes. And Nico, again, brought up something really cool, because Rogan was trying to be fair to this Canadian guy who was running.
Yep.
Because
100%.
to him, he wanted to have Kamala on because, not because he's a political guy, but because he had Trump on, and he's like, you know what?
Fair.
I got to be fair. And even after Kamala said no, people forget he had John Fetterman on 4 days later.
Yep.
He's like, just give me anyone from the left who wants to come on, because for him, that was the only way he could just move on and keep talking shit with his comedian friends. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys are doing something. It's weird. It's somewhere in the middle, and
it does not exist. What we're doing does not exist.
No.
That was the whole point from the get-go, is to approach it from a place where we get to tell our biases, present the news. I think we're more presenter of the news of what's going on, but we will give our opinions, but we're no different than the comments that you're seeing. We're just the face of it. We're just the one that thought about doing it and have the personality to do it. But outside of that, I'm ready to bet that there's a lot more intelligent people in that comment section than Rob and I on here, and we're not scared to say. Oh, well, okay, I understand that it's not a big. It doesn't say much against Rob, but in my case,
not a high bar to clear.
Guys, here's another example. There's a political commentator named Mehdi Hassan, right? Who's kind of been on the right side of history of Gaza. So this guy, in 2013, completely trashed the Daily Mail, said they have no morals, they have no principles, they don't care about women, they don't care about, abortion and this or that. And the Daily Mail shared an email he sent them begging them for a job. He said, it's strange, this guy's shitting on us. And they actually had receipts. They said he actually sent us a job, begging us for a job, saying that he will say conservative shit against liberals. So his name is Mehdi Hassan, but he's got a spine that bends both ways,
Just before we grab the comment, I just wanted to go back to your Chris Cuomo thing. As much as Chris Cuomo's door's still open, I will never have respect for that guy. That guy can suck my dick. He's a fucking asshole, because what he said with Don Lemon is guys like me deserve to be in prison. We deserve to be ridiculed for not taking the whoop,
what did he say? If you don't take the shot,
he basically that we deserve to be ridiculed. We deserve to be called out. There needed to be consequences to guys like me. This, I don't care that you believe or don't believe. That is your personal opinion. But to tell me that I deserve consequences, I deserve to lose my career the way I did, I deserve to lose my right the way I did in Canada, this is bullshit. I will never have respect for you. And if I meet him in real life, I will smack him in the back of the head. As in, please, bitch. Now you're taking ivermectin. You shat on guys like me. And now your bitch ass is taking the same remedy that guys like Rogan have been pushing for years, when you on CNN made fun of him and ridiculed him and said that he needed to be called out.
Called it a horse.
Yeah. So
keep saying you guys aren't a horse. I mean,
yeah.
By the way, those posts.
In your case, obviously, it's not true, right, Jason?
Still up.
But Jason, in your case, it's not true, right? You are a horse, obviously. That's why you have a beautiful wife. That
Oh
makes
yeah,
more money.
he's a horse below the waist.
We should call you
love
that.
your hair.
He's
Yeah,
horsing.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
it'd
should
be
call
nice
you
to have the
that.
long hair like horses have.
yeah.
Call me
Big
Hal.
ol'-
You want to take some of those comments, Rob?
yeah.
Because
Mr.
we have a
Robot.
bunch, I think. Yeah.
We do, yeah. Mr. Robot says, I think it's okay if the government decided to provide some subsidies to certain companies. However, as long as the company is privately owned, that's most important, not owned by the state. Yeah, I mean, I think for strategically important industries, I think it's plausible. You can certainly make the case for it. Media is not, definitely you can't make the case for it. And as soon as they started taking subsidies, government subsidies, and I think they were founded on government subsidies, someone in their decision making process should have said, all right, guys, if we're gonna touch news, we got to be so fucking careful that both sides hate us.
And what private companies, Rob? Right?
Yeah,
Why is Boeing sponsoring news stations? And who's in the business of buying a private jet when they see a fucking commercial?
That's right. And if you look at the salaries for CBC too, right? Like some mid-level executives making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think their CEO is making millions.
The point in the matter is that they cannot survive without Canadian subsidies. So they sold their soul. We're talking about about $500 million revenue, and we subsidize them for $1.4 billion. So they generate about 25% of the revenue they need to survive. Right then and there, that's not a feasible business. You fucking deserve to go extinct. This is not. I'm not in the business of supporting media, or else where's my fucking check? And if I were to take money from the government, I can guarantee you that I couldn't be biased anymore. I would have to be biased towards them. I wouldn't be able to call them out. So, we're not even talking about subsidizing them. This is not a good word. We are literally the difference why they're still alive and why
that's a good point.
This is 3 times, like we supply 3 times what they can generate. So it's not a subsidizing. No. We're not subsidizing them. We're literally the only reason they're alive.
And no one's even talking about getting rid of the CBC. We're saying stop paying government money to it. If Canadians love them so much, they will support them, right? That is how the market works.
You know what? That's what I was saying to Zelensky and Ukraine. I don't think we should get involved in foreign aid whatsoever. But if as a person you want, have Zelensky set up a GoFundMe and have him dance like a little bitch and raise his own money. I would say the same thing about CBC.
Put a ring on it.
You want to have our taxpayers' money? No problem. Go to the taxpayers' money, create a GoFundMe, prove your value just like anybody else would do, and decide where your money goes. But my money doesn't belong in CBC's pocket, plain and simple.
I agree. And again, I don't mean to go back to Rogan, but this is where the resentment comes from, right? These people, if you're state sponsored, you're conscientious of what you say because you're beholden to them. You know, these people sell their ass. People sell their ass for money. Oh, tell them the OnlyFans.
Good job, Misfit. So Misfit doesn't agree with the GoFundMe. He thinks that Zelensky should open an OnlyFans, and you know what? He probably make millions.
He's got a show hole.
But that's the comedian they chose as an expert, right? They chose to make that guy president of Ukraine, right? So again, people are talking about comedians, but well, this guy's president of a country. So what are we talking? You know, people are illing out on comedians telling the truth.
And what's that famous saying? Something like, it's hard to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on him not understanding it. It's the same kind of thing, right? Like how can you expect the media to be unbiased when the government is paying their bills? Even if they want to be neutral, if they want to be unbiased, there's always going to be in the back of their mind. That's just basic human nature. So I think we really need to just understand how humans work when we think about these kind of things. Yeah. And again, as we were saying, if they're so useful, if they're so valuable, they'll survive. Canadians will pay for them.
You know what? This is the perfect segue. Show the video you were talking about for CBC, because I believe I have the same, but if you don't, I'll show it. But this is the point, right? We've been talking about this for an hour, and I think it's pretty everywhere in the comment. People seem to be agreeing outside of, I think it was Misfit that said that maybe there's a place for it, which, you know what? I'm open to this.
Yep.
I don't believe it, but
It adds
I
good
could see
nuance
having
to
the
the discussion.
Sure, I get it. You know what? I understand his point. As much as I don't agree, I get it. But we should start with the videos just so we can start talking about, now that we are on the seem to
Content.
be aligned as to where we're going with this.
Yep.
And now we're in. How about we show some of the videos to kind of prove our point
Yeah,
or illustrate our point?
I want to take one more comment because I think it's relevant to the content of the show. This is from Wise Guy. He says, "Hey guys, how about doing polls as you do the show? Anytime you want our overall opinion, or whatever is during the conversation."
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
3 a day. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea.
Of course, you fucking assholes
should
thinks
see what
it's
the
a great
poll says
idea.
now.
No, hold on. I know you guys think you guys think it's a great idea because you're not the fucking one doing it. I understand.
Is
I
it hard?
agree with you.
Is it hard?
No, but I need to keep track of all this shit. You guys
yeah.
are just like, oh,
Do
yeah,
this, do that, Nico. It's
yeah.
easy. It's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
I'm running 1, 2, 3. I'm looking at comments on 3 different platforms. I'm keeping track of the Discord. I'm looking at X to make sure everything that's going live shouldn't be shown on here.
Watching
no, it's okay.
that gay midget porn with one
Oh,
corner of
brother.
your eye while you're doing all this.
Actually, my cell phone's right here. That's why it's off the screen. It's just right there. I'm looking.
But I do like that idea. I do like if like, you know, if it's a thing that we can do, maybe 1 or 2 a show. I think that'd be.
How about we start with one? Because you're not the one that's going to be doing it, are you? So
we'll
start with one. We'll start with one. I took notes in my notepad to make sure that I do it every show. So at least the question of the day.
Yeah,
but
at least
yeah,
the question of the day. At least the question of the day could be a poll. I like that.
We have 93% so far, guys.
But you know, guys, as much as I'm ripping into, I think it was either Misfit or Wise Guy that said that I'm fucking with you. I'm just making fun of you. But at the same time, this is where we want. That's one of the reasons why we established the membership. Our goal would be to have somebody else running the show for us while we can just do what we're doing and interact with you guys and talk about the news. It's just that right now we have to do absolutely everything at once. So we're really just 2 guys doing this and learning as we go, right? So if you think those are great ideas, if you want the show to develop and get better and get to the next level, we have a membership that you can help and support us. Not only can you support us, but that will give you access to the Discord server where we can continue this conversation, because this goes for 2.5 hours. But as you can see from the comments, there's hundreds of comments already, and there's no way we're capable of keeping track of all of them. But on the Discord server, people are already starting to chat. I set it up last week. We started talking about it 2 days ago, and now there's like comments. So that membership not only gives you access to, hopefully we can prioritize your messages, but it gives you access to the Discord server where we can continue this conversation 24 hours a day. And if you're like me, a little conspiracy theorist, there's a place for you to dump all those stories in so that maybe I can talk about it on the show. Just saying.
Yeah, and just before we get in that video, I want to take one more, just because this is such
a good one more. It's
such a good comment, and I actually want to hear your two opinions on it, and it's a little bit different from the one
video, right?
Never, not ever.
A video, huh? Okay.
Never again. It's comments forever. Joe Stradamus, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing people that corporate media ever had anything other than a corporate conservative agenda. I think that's a pretty interesting comment, because I think I agree with this. I think that core is a corporate agenda, but it's often wrapped in liberal wrapping paper.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the conservative part. I wouldn't say conservative because obviously it has nothing to do with being conservative. But if you're talking about big business,
that's what he's talking about, I believe.
Right. Yeah, but conservative is not big business, and you can see that in. We have a banker running the country of Canada that is a globalist, part of the WEF and part of Brookfield. You cannot be more corporate than that guy, and he's a liberal. He ain't a fucking conservative. Right. And look at the Democrats in the US. I don't think you can question who's for the little guy. Like Trump and the Republican are pushing to the little guy. Obviously, you look at the Democrat and they're like, big business.
Neither one. Fuck out of here.
Oh,
No
yeah,
Yeah.
sure. You know what? I can agree with that. Yeah, I can agree. But the point of the matter is
have a
that
solidarity problem, guys. In America, billionaires don't have an issue with solidarity. Okay, Elon Musk and whatever that guy's name is from Facebook, they could be fighting, but they're not gonna not do
Mark
business
Zuckerberg.
with each other.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
no.
Like George Soros, these people
Yeah.
behind closed doors are not gonna say, "I'm not gonna do business with you
No.
because you voted for Trump." These
No,
people
they do not care.
billionaires don't have a solidarity issue. They want to make sure poor people don't.
I can rephrase what I said. Conservatism has nothing to do with corporation.
Mm-hmm.
They have not anymore.
that
Maybe at one point, 30, 40 years ago, it was really a right-leaning thing to be big business. Today, you can say. You can tell me who's big business or not, especially not in Canada, because goddamn, you can't go bigger business than our prime minister right now.
Well, and I think that's where the uniparty thing comes from, is because especially in the States, big business is funding both sides absolutely equally. It's all
Everywhere.
theater, right? All theater. They want us to believe that there's this difference, but there really is.
Go to opensecrets.com. Look at the donor list from billionaires. They're contributing to both parties.
Yeah, of course they are. Why wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Why wouldn't they? So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Stop looking. Do this. Stop looking at the comment. Just put your hand over the comment for a second, Rob, and play a video.
Did you say you had one as well, or were you wanting?
Well, I'll see. It's just that before the show we were talking about how you found a video from CBC that was setting the expectations so low.
Okay, I got that one here.
I think I have the same as you. If you don't, I'll play mine. But let's start there, right? Just for the people that have been proning Carney for more than a month, saying that he's the savior of Canada and him only can save Canada and stand up to Trump. This is the video they chose to go before he started sucking before he went to the press conference with Trump.
So they're setting the stage, they're setting the scene, and then we're gonna show this, and then we're gonna show what actually happened, and then we're gonna show how they reported on it afterwards. Okay, you guys got that.
This goal of reestablishing a proper working relationship between the Prime Minister's office and the presidency, given the state of things since November of last year. But there is a real sense of anxiety, right? In that the Canadians believe that they are serious and they are prepared, but they are also walking into a meeting with the most unpredictable politician in the Western world. And they have to be prepared for just about anything to happen there. They've got Melanie Joly, the Foreign Affairs Minister, is here. Dominic Leblanc, the Trade Minister, is here. And David McGuinty, the Public Safety Minister, is here. Mark Carney last week, when he gave that news conference, Rosie, on Friday, he talked about the fentanyl tariffs at minimum or something that mystify them. Based on the presence of who's here and the fact that Carney raised that, you'd think they would love to come out of this meeting with at least some movement on that. But up to this point, no matter who you talk to, no matter how many times you ask, it's a very low bar of expectations. Like, it's the
They're
first
even saying
face-to-face meeting since
very
the
low
election.
bar.
They want to restart things. They want this to go well, but they're just kind of bracing, because we've all seen some pretty dramatic moments happen when world leaders are sitting next to Donald Trump in that office.
I like the word bracing, and you know why? Because look, I'll illustrate it. He went like this. I'm ready.
No, he was bracing all right.
Yeah, he was bracing all right. Yeah, he was bracing all right.
And I want you guys to keep something in mind as we watch later clips of the actual meeting. They were basically saying right there, he was like, yeah, the bar's super low. We don't expect anything. But the one thing that he said, he was like, the one thing we hope to see some movement on is, I don't know if you caught that, but he said the fentanyl tariffs, because the fentanyl tariffs, he said that's the one thing. I guess they thought this was low-hanging fruit. And it's funny because the only time fentanyl is mentioned, as we're going to see, is when Carney thanks Trump for going after, for dealing with the fentanyl crisis in an excellent way. So it's like they gave him one tiny task to do, and he didn't even do that.
Let me, you know what, before you go to the next one, I had one that just, man, I posted it on Instagram. It's just fucking hilarious. This is just, I named this Mark Carney Played the Boomers. This is the title of this video, but just to set the stage even further.
The relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperations, is over.
Thank you for your hospitality and
I have this video too.
for your leadership. You're
You're a transformational president, focus on the economy with a relentless focus on the American worker, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl, and other opioids, and securing the world.
Ending the scourge of fentanyl. Fuck's sakes.
This is the guy that's standing up to Trump. Goddamn.
Yeah.
What a great job that man's doing.
Yeah, that was a great video.
Well, it just shows you, right? The CBC is literally preparing you for. We hope, we brace for the impact of what it is to deal with the most unstable leader in the Western world. That's their okay, bro. I'll talk as a Canadian. We elected him to stand up to him. Is that not? Shouldn't he be prepared to this? Shouldn't he be prepared? Like, Trump has not changed. If there's one thing you can, like, I have his book somewhere. It's pretty fucking clear. It's called The Art of the Deal. He's told you since the 80s. How do you deal with Trump? Read his book before you meet him, and you'll understand a bit of psychology. That's it. That's simple. But our leader couldn't even do that. So,
yeah, and that's sort of like the theme that we're gonna run into as we look at some of the way this is covered. It isn't biased in the way, it's not necessarily overt. It's not saying they're not necessarily saying we love Carney, but what the coverage to me feels like is a media property who they are biased but are trying to not look like it. Like, just the way they set the bar, so he literally used low bar.
Yep.
There will be a low bar. He used those exact words. And that's just, so right away they're getting this they're preparing the audience's mindset to basically don't get your hopes up. Nothing's going to happen, when really his whole campaign was ran on making things happen. So, but we'll put that to the side. But then the one thing they said, one thing that might happen is these fentanyl tariffs. We'll probably see him go after that. Fucking gets in there. Thank you for ending the scourge on fentanyl. So, like, man, you had one job and you couldn't even do that.
They are not going to do anything in the United States of America that's going to upset Big Pharma. Okay.
100%.
So fentanyl, if it benefits us, we're going to vote for it. And if it doesn't, whatever. In 2017, we had an amendment to vote for cheaper drugs from Canada. All right. And 13 Democrats, the people that supposedly fight for the little guy, including Cory Booker, voted against it. To get cheaper medications, Crestor, Premarin, Zetia, Nexium, the purple pill for, acid pill. It's like a Prilosec, Celebrex, right? And I didn't mention the other because the others were already recalled from 2017. They're not on the market anymore because, Big Pharma is never wrong, or the FDA is never wrong. But
then they'll come out with a new pill to deal with the side effects of that pill, right?
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah, well, of course. Well, Nico has this thing. Nico's like, you can if you're hammering your thumb, you could take a painkiller so it doesn't hurt, or you can stop hammering your thumb.
Yeah.
What a concept, man. What a fucking
cheaper?
concept.
Which one's cheaper?
Yeah, which one's more effective too, right? But it's actually a great analogy, because obviously it's ridiculous and that's why we laugh, but at the same time it's exactly what they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, we'll just grab a few of these, then we'll get to the next videos from the meeting. Tenchi says, I don't want to be that guy. But Michael Myers has been in court for being part of Diddy's party.
He was named.
You fit in right here being that guy.
Squealing.
I responded to him just saying that's just one of them, because they're looking at Beyonce right now. They're looking at Ashton Kutcher. They're looking at Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, they've all been named, it seems like, in the court case. And there's a good reason why Diddy got refused for a $50 million bail. They said, nope, you're staying in jail.
He's a fighter.
He's a risk to everybody, male, female, young people.
He's a risk. He's a menace.
He's a non-extradition country via private jet. So,
and he has the resources to do it, obviously. But bro, you are not one of those guys. You're actually one of us. So continue sharing those things. But man, I'm gonna sell this to you. But this is where the Discord server would be great, so you can share all that shit there. Just saying, just throwing it out there.
Sasquatch Chronicles says this clip is after Trump told Carney he won because of him. Yeah, and we're going to get into a bunch more of the clips. I believe we've got that one. But yeah.
Do you have the one where because I think I downloaded
I've got
it. Where
him
Carney
talking
is.
about cars. We don't want your cars. We don't want your aluminum.
But do you have the one where Carney said Canada's not for sale with the
Yeah.
reaction of Trump?
Yeah,
Oh,
we got
that one is so funny. Like,
Oh, the
fuck.
one where it focuses just on Trump? No, I don't think I have that one. So after we play mine, if we'll play yours because I do want to see the Trump's actual reaction. Ruby K, has Ruby been around or is this Ruby's first time? Either way, great. Thanks for the comment. Sad that people get conned so easily. CBC is biased 100%. No integrity in CBC. I realized CBC lies all day in 2020, and I stopped listening at that point. Yep. I mean, that's Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
You want to stop you want to stop Joe Rogan from spewing disinformation or misinformation.
Yeah, right.
How about do your fucking job?
Yeah.
Guys, you have an opportunity. They have the network, they have the financing, they have the star power to bring us fair, balanced, and even news. And like Nico said, even if it's from a biased place, come with that fucking energy.
Yeah.
Be honest. Be honest about it.
Be honest with it.
It's not that they're saying, "Oh, we have a problem with comedians doing it instead of experts." No, it's they want their comedians doing it. We have night shows in the United States of America. Stephen Colbert has political opinions. He's no one says he's not an expert, right? Jimmy Kimmel has opinions on this shit. No one says he's not an expert. Bill Maher has opinions on these things. No one says he's not an expert, right? So it's not referring to expertise or some unfounded form of lived experience. It's just someone speaking against your narrative, and you have no way to rein him in.
Because any expert you bring up is, he's biased.
But you have no means to rein him in. I don't know if you saw the Douglas Murray podcast. Douglas Murray is like, it'd be nice to have experts on here, not let podcasters, do this work. And Joe was like, give me an example. Give me an example of what you're talking about. He could.
So you mean himself?
Exactly.
Probably meant himself and his buddies.
And these
right?
people have this appeal to authority argument. And
Yeah.
don't actually fucking tell me why. Like Nico, like I think your cooking tastes like dog food, right? Nico's like, it's probably because I'm feeding a chihuahua, but give me the facts. Why?
Hey guys, I want to show this. Carney just posted a video on his X like literally 2 minutes ago about his meeting with Trump. I have not had a chance to watch it yet, but I just want to read the caption. Let me show this. So as you see 1 minute ago, this is brand new. It is called, "This is the start of a new economic and security relationship between Canada and the United States." The same message he's been pushing for the last month, right?
Because literally 3 days ago, it was the relationship with the United States is
done.
over. It is over.
So this is a video he posted on X, not somebody that did a montage making fun of him. I don't know what it is, but let's watch it together.
I conveyed to the president today what our countries have long proven to be true, that Canada and the United States are stronger when we work together. We can get a better deal for our workers. We can create more opportunities for our businesses. We can build stronger economies across North America when we work together. The question is how we will cooperate in the future, how we can build an economic and security relationship built on mutual respect. We agreed to have further conversations in the coming weeks, and we are looking forward to meeting in person at the G7 summit in Kananaskis in Alberta.
That's great. That's a great segue into what we're gonna play here, because I like to. I don't know, Jason. You probably weren't watching like the actual. I don't know if you saw that meeting yesterday, but I'd like to hear your take. If you saw that, and then compare it with what we're gonna play here in a minute, and tell me if you think that was an accurate representation of what went down.
I don't know if that's an accurate representation of what went down, but if you only saw the latter video and not the former, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. But
the video itself wasn't bad.
But they kind of gave away the game when you saw the soldiers marching in place. They're not marching forward. That basically that's basically code for we're sending you this message, but we're not going to be moving forward. We're going to be right where we are until Trump says forward march. So I'll end with that. But if I didn't see the first one, I thought it was well done. Just fresh eyes. I thought it was well done.
Yeah. If that's all that you saw.
Does that look like a guy that's been declaring war on Trump for the past month and a half, that said that our economy is with the US, our relationship with the US is done, is dead. It will never be the same. He's right, it'll never be the same. You'll take not only 6 inches of dick, now we're gonna take 12. That's what that video should have been what he said from the get-go. We need the US. We don't have any fucking leverage. We need to deepen our relationship with them while we become more self-reliant. Done. But that is not what he pushed.
All right, so keeping in mind the video that Carney just played as his interpretation of what happened. Now here's it's about a 2-minute clip of Jess pretty much right where. Just watch it and see if you think that the two meetings kind of line up.
We want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada.
We don't want cars from
and
Canada.
We put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things because we want to be able to do it ourselves. And we, because of, past thinking of people, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us. And there's no reason for us to be subsidizing Canada. Canada's a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically. I assume they can. I will tell you that Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. When I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said, that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said, that's a strange answer, but I understand his answer. But no, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year. We protect Canada militarily, and we always will. We're going to, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair. But why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year, or whatever the number might be? It's a very substantial number.
So it's just funny because Trump's saying, on the one hand, Trump in the actual meeting, Trump's like, we're not buying your cars, we're not buying your aluminum, we're not buying your steel, we're subsidizing your country, and the tariffs are never coming off. And then Carney goes back to Canada and makes this fucking bright, sunny video about a new relationship. Shared prosperity between these two countries. It's like, what fucking meeting were you at, brother? Holy fuck.
And he allowed Trump to talk out of his ass.
Oh, yeah.
The worst form of fucking bullshit in the history of Trumpism, okay? This is a guy that's telling you that we don't want Canadian cars, but what he's not telling you is that the companies that's making those Canadian cars are American owned. This is the big
of the parts come from
secret.
America.
The manufacturing plants are not owned by the countries that we're putting tariffs on. They're American owned, from American parts to generators to the very tie Trump has around his fucking neck. Those are called Trump ties, and those Trumps are made in China. Okay, that's if you don't believe me, I would love a talk show host to be like, take off the tie and read to me where it's made, because David Letterman did that. David Letterman one night did that, and he said the ties are made in China. Now, maybe if he wants to let Trump get a whole sentence, and maybe if you can't remember shit, get out a fucking pad, write down some shit you want to say, at least look busy or look like you're ignoring him, or show some kind of body language that says, let me interrupt you, or
trying to jump in, just look weak.
But that's the biggest head fake. A lot of people are not talking about that. These plants, these manufacturing plants, are American owned, which is why.
Can you imagine if he just said that? But imagine this, to me, a strong leader would have cut off Trump, because he had all the opportunity to cut him off.
Absolutely, he would have. He could take Trump too, and he just was like, "Oh no."
No, but he didn't have the balls to say so. But can you imagine if he just looked at him and said exactly what you said?
Mr. President, can I stop you right there?
No, don't even fucking ask,
Mr.
President. 50% of that's what he ran on. We're not talking about a guy that was just oh, I will do my best to make sure that Trump has an open. No, our relationship with the U.S. will never be.
Over.
It is
Over.
done. We need to stand up to that guy, and I'm the man to do it. Pierre Poliev, my opponent, is a mini Trump. He likes him. All I'm seeing here is, as of now on, liberals in Canada need to wear a MAGA hat because they are officially on Trump's team.
Give me a fucking
MAGA in
break.
Canada.
Because if there's anything we won't tolerate, Nico, it's people that run on something and then when they're elected, they're a completely different person, right? Yeah, that's not a fucking norm. We're not going to fight you.
No.
We're not going to tolerate that shit, right?
Now, just to kind of what you were saying, Jason, about the subsidies. For me, like a lot of the stuff we talk about today is about the body language and what he how he just came off. But that's a tangible thing that he should have absolutely said. Like, he allowed Trump to say what is fundamentally not true. Like, we do not subsidize. What he's talking about is there is a trade deficit with America, and I believe it's like $200 billion in favor of the U.S. What he's not saying is that includes oil. And if you subtract oil from it, then we actually have a $50 billion trade deficit with America. And the thing about our oil is we sell it at about a 20% discount because we don't have any other customers. So we sell our oil about, if it's $100 a barrel on the world market, we're selling it to the US for about $75 to $80. So in a very real way, if anyone's subsidizing anybody, Canada is subsidizing America's energy production, or not production, but energy use. And if you're going to stand up to Trump, why the fuck are you not saying this? That's your job. That's the only thing you were hired to do, is to stand up to Trump. And he goes there and he fucking fondles his balls, tell him how much he appreciates his leadership, tell him how much he appreciates him ending the fentanyl crisis, which what the fuck, and allows him to just lie, flat out lie. So I didn't see any standing up. And then, of course,
but just a caveat. Hold on. You need to put a caveat on your comment about the oil. We talked about this before. This is not quite accurate what you're saying.
What's that?
We send it to the US at a discount because we do not have the manufacturing to do the last cleaning of we cannot process our own oil. That's one of the reasons why they have.
Is just the price of uncleaned, unprocessed oil. No,
that is one of the reasons why you got to be. You need to put that caveat in to be accurate. Yes, we give it at a discount. Yes, they get probably every single piece of oil that Alberta's producing because we're not shipping it to the world. They can't. They don't have the. We don't have the pipelines to do so. But just make sure to mention that we don't have the proper manufacturing on our side.
Reasons
so we're dependent. Yeah, but that's why. Like,
there are reasons why we sell at a discount. The fact is we sell at a discount. And for what I'm saying.
Yeah, but we do the same thing with power. Like in Canada, like in Quebec, I think we're the third largest hydro electricity producer in the world. We sell our electricity cheaper to the US than Canadians get it for. Like in Quebec, I pay more for electricity here than Americans do. So we always do this because of the sheer size.
Well, yeah, and it's supply and demand. When you only have one customer,
client, right?
When you only have one customer.
But technically Quebec has multiple customers. Like pretty much every single Quebecois receives his electricity from hydroelectricity, same as Ontario. A large portion of them also receive it because of us. But the point is that it's a big customer and we want to continue business with them. We just need to make sure that I understand why what he's saying is full of shit. But the point is, Carney had the chance to say something. He could have interrupted him. He could have said something and just say, bro, you're wrong. And even your comment about the 50%, if this is true, I don't know if that is true. I'll believe you.
Car parts,
but if 50% of our car parts come from the US for us to build the cars and then sell it to them, this is, again, I think I'll always go back to what you've said a month ago. Trump is a mega troll. He is a mega troll, and he gets to say all those shit because nobody calls him out. Nobody has the balls to actually call him out. But at the same time, this is what Canadians voted for. We voted for a guy that said he had the balls to stand up to him. And just saying what you guys are saying, like, forget the oil, just say, Mr. President, you are aware that 50% of the car parts that we use to produce our cars to then sell back to you come from the US. Can you imagine how stupid Trump would have looked? And at least that, he would have stood up to Trump. He could have shut up the whole rest and just sit there. And at least we would have had to give him credit to say, you know what? He said something where he stood up to Trump, but we didn't see that.
Listen, this is valuable information for your Canadian listeners. Okay, look at me, and this is very, very important as you walk away. You know, I have a hard stop at 11, but plenty of time to deliver you this message. You got honey dicked. Okay, you were the woman in the club and on the dance floor, and you met a guy that said he's in love with you. He wants to spend the rest of his life with you, and as soon as you give him some ass, you wake up, he's gone. So you woke up with a disappointment and a fucking STD. You got honey dicked. You were sold a bill of goods and whatever. At least in America, we play the game with a constitutional wink, right? Like when RFK's confirmation happened, they pushed him on abortion. You're pro-choice. He's pro-life. How do you do that? And he's like, he just kept answering the question the same way. Abortion is a tragedy. Abortion is a tragedy. It pissed off everybody, but he knew what he had to say to become health secretary to get past that path, right? Tulsi Gabbard, she was asked multiple times, do you think Snowden is a traitor to your country? And they know she doesn't think so. She said, well, he committed the crime. She answered the same way. There are certain in America, like you know, you have to answer a certain way to get through that patch to allow yourself to do what you think other good work is, right? So you're selling your soul a little bit, but you're getting bang for your buck. But not this guy. God damn, y'all got honey dicked.
I think that's you got the perfect expression.
Hoodwink.
Trump is a mega. So Rob says Trump is a mega troll, and Canadians got honey dicked. If there's something we need to remember from today's show, I believe those
two things. Yeah,
we could stop it right there, and we conveyed the point of the episode. But you got honey dicked. I fucking love it. I'm gonna put that in my post that I'm working
Shout
on
out to Brendan
right
Schaub.
now.
I got that
Honey
from
dicked.
him.
Yeah.
We should use that word more. Brendan Schaub, Brian Callen, Fighter and the Kid, who are multiple
Oh,
times.
Brendan Schaub, the Brendan Schaub, the old UFC fighter. At
Yeah.
265.
He's the one I heard that from.
Fucking hilarious. That dude is hilarious. I like that guy.
Brian Callen must hate his guts because he wasn't a comedian, and they were like, "You should try comedy," and he ended up being better than Callen, who's an actual comedian. So I know. I know we have a podcast together, but he's like, "I hate your fucking guts. You're bigger, stronger, better looking, and now you're funnier."
And you know you can kick his. It's dangerous to have a guy like Schaub on the
That guy
stage.
can kill everyone in the
He's
room.
not gonna get hecklers. Like the guy's 6'4", 260, 270 pounds, and can literally take professional fighters.
What's his name? I'm gonna find
Brendan Schaub, Schaub, or I think there's two B's or one B's. Yeah. He's a monster of a man.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. That's a big dude. That's a big dude.
He is hilarious. Just talking. I mean, not stand-up comedy, but like a podcast and
just a funny guy, right?
Holy fucking shit, man! It is a man talk podcast.
Sasquatch Chronicle says Trump is like, here's how we're going to destroy your country economically. Carney's like, Canada's not for sale. Trump, we were not offering to buy anything. Yeah, and I go a little further. I agree. Absolutely. Trump's like, here's how I'm going to destroy your country economically. And then the next day, Carney released a video saying, this is the start of a brand new relationship between our two countries. Shared prosperity. And it's like, brother, what the fuck meeting were you at? What are you talking about?
It was a meeting with his new cellmate.
Yeah,
and yet you see some of the comments on social media from left-leaning personalities.
They're delusional.
This is the guy. No, but this is the guy I voted for. He represents my values. So right then and there, for all of you out there that believe that Mark Carney did the right thing, you better fucking wear your MAGA hat starting now, because you've been honey dicked.
What is that? It was the first meeting with the cellmate. All right.
And we know who the bitch is.
Yeah, we're gonna do a at least twice a week, and I like a little head. You like head?
Yeah.
And
tremendous. Mark here gives tremendous head, the best head
in your life.
Elbows up, elbows up, Mark. Elbows up.
Sylvie says, as much as we shit on Carney, I also can't imagine Polyev sitting there. I agree with that.
No,
I don't 100%. I don't think Polyev is in there doing any better. But Polyev didn't run on his ability to stand up to Trump. And I think that's
exactly.
You run to get elected, and you guys got duped.
Honey dick.
No, we got honey dicked.
We got
Oh,
honey
This
dick.
is my new expression, like
Yeah.
twat. I
Honey
stole
dick.
from Rob. Rob
Yeah.
is my favorite. Twat is one of my favorite expressions now. Honey dick, I will add to
you
the
silly
vocabulary.
twat.
Good
Thank
artists
you,
create,
Jason.
but great artists steal.
Tenchi says what Nico said is why I say liberals turn pro-Trump. Can you clarify in the comments which specific thing you're talking about? Because it's an interesting
It might have
comment.
been
No, it's just that I think he's going after what I'm saying, that if you voted for Carney, you literally voted for Trump.
Yes, I got you.
And now you need to wear your MAGA hat because
MAGA.
at least be honest.
Yeah,
At least be honest.
I
At
like
least
it.
be honest.
I like it. That's hilarious because it just they would just be fuming.
Bro,
if you
that's
said it to them.
that is another great t-shirt for you and I to do.
Yeah,
If you voted for Carney, wear your hat, and it's just a picture of a MAGA hat underneath.
Yeah, we'll set up some merch. I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Oh, give me a logo, man. Give me
Yeah,
somebody that can make
okay.
a logo. I have hundreds of ideas. I'm an idiot.
Silhouettes, man. Goatee,
I'm a
ball
nigga
head.
troll.
fucking-
Yeah.
Oh my- that would be
I-
magical.
Yeah, I was thinking, well, because maybe like a cartoonized version of both me and Nico with the bald head beard, maybe cut it in half and put us together and have one half red,
Yeah.
one half blue.
Nico set up mine. He set up my logo. on
Yeah.
My
Oh, did
website.
it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, Yankee hat, blank face. Yeah.
Bump.
It's a
Yeah,
nice
that's a great logo. Bumpy Johnson says Carney had to ask permission to speak. That's the vibe that I got.
Actually, he
Like,
didn't even ask.
What a username.
Bumpy Johnson.
yeah.
Bumpy Johnson.
The
That's a
King
great
of
move.
Harlem, dude.
Player haters ball.
Yeah.
He was the first drug dealer that separated from the Italian mob and decided
Yeah.
to racket.
Is that the movie that Denzel played?
Yes, that's the
Yeah,
the
that
guy
was a great
that is the
movie.
mentor of
Lucas.
Denzel Washington.
Yes,
is
that's
Bumpy
right, that's right.
Johnson. Yeah, the
Bumpy
guy that dies
Johnson.
from a heart attack in the store at the
But
beginning. That's Bumpy
Godfather
Johnson.
Harlem. That's a series. That's the story about Bumpy Johnson. That's Forrest Whitaker. So check that.
That's that's a pretty fascinating story.
That's that black guy, right?
Yes, good. Yeah, I know.
That guy freaks me out. He has a super big guy and a super tiny one.
Yeah.
Your
Cheryl loves honey dick. She says, "Thank you, Jason. I learned something new today."
Oh, that is a great expression. I'm posting right now, and it's honey with
dick.
the picture of the what's the dick picture on the emoji. It's the purple
the honey eggplant. Honey eggplant.
the eggplant.
Got it.
So
honey
that-
eggplant.
I'm like, you guys got honey eggplant. I love it, bro.
You woke up
I like
with a
it.
yeast infection and a
I like
shitload
it.
of disappointment.
Misfit says, "Make North America great again," and that is something that Misfit has been banging.
He's
this
going
drum.
again with this.
Yeah, this is
So, Managa?
All the
So that's Managa?
Managa. Yes.
bro, Managa. You can't say that. That sounds like Managa.
Managa.
But this, we talked about how Pierre Poliev did not bang the drum enough on his topic. Bro,
take it from
hey,
Misfit.
Pierre, if you ever need to understand what it is to beat the drum on the same
Take it
fucking
from
topic
Misfit.
every day, Misfit right then and there has been beating
And
that
it works
fucking drum.
because we're
We
talking
know.
about it. We're thinking about it.
Yo,
It's
Misfit
an
rock.
interesting idea. It's an interesting idea. And then we had someone yesterday.
Real
Remember, I think he was a new commenter, but he was saying he didn't like the separation talk because he was worried that was a step towards the North American union. So you definitely have some different takes on this one issue.
Like I was saying, there's no if you are a conspiracy theory,
It's hard to know
or
where to go,
theorist
right?
like me, everything's a problem. There's no I look everywhere and I'm like, we're fucked, we're definitely fucked. This one's gonna hurt a bit more right now. Like we're all fucked, but that's why I don't believe in man, I believe in God.
Amen.
Part of the
Jay-
plan, I guess.
Jason, could you read this in your Trump voice? Where he goes, "This is a friendly conversation. We had another little man."
Let me see if I can do it. Ready? It's big now. And this is a friendly conversation. We had another little man. He's a nice little man that ran his mouth and refused to wear a suit. I mean, look at mine. It's the nicest suit you've ever seen. That's my guy.
You know about him, right, Mark?
China.
Zelensky.
You're right about him, Mark. You're right.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're right.
Like this, I got it from China.
China.
China. Yeah, no, it's funny.
I wish I could say it like that. China.
China.
His fucking ties, guys. His ties are from China. The tie around his neck, talking America first, is from China.
Joe's on board. He says, "What's up? What's up, Managas?"
I have a Jackie Chan flashback. You remember the movie Rush Hour?
Oh,
he said, "What's up,
Rush Hour?" Yeah.
Yes, because he heard Chris Tucker do it. What's up?
What is up?
And he goes, "What's up, Manyaka?" And he said, "What the fuck you just say?" I said, "What's up, Manyaka?" I don't want any trouble.
No, but do you realize that word means something in Japanese? I think it's in Japanese. There's a video trending right now on Instagram that's fucking hilarious. This black dude is somewhere in Asia, and the guy's having a conversation with this. He's just another dude that's having a conversation with the shop owner, and he keeps on dropping the N-bomb. The black guy's like, looks at him. He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" The guy's like, the Chinese guy looks at him. He's like, "What do you mean?" Then he flashes. He's like, "Oh no, that's not what it means."
I don't believe it. Hey, Nico.
If you look, there's what's his name? A comedian from Toronto that was one of the biggest comedians on the planet. He's Indian. Russell Peters.
Oh yes.
He has a full hit on that, and it's just like it's hesitation word, like a filler word. That's what it is. He has a sketch about this. It's fucking hilarious. I cannot get away with that, with saying it online. I'll say it behind the scene. I grew up with black guys. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say it. But I don't need the YouTube channel.
You're listening to a Dr. Dre song. You got to get your N.
Oh, that comedian that says, "Yeah, but what about rap songs? Yeah. We should be allowed as white people to say the N-word in rap songs." It's not the same. You can't remove, like, listening to Mobb Deep.
Yes.
And I have to silence the N. No.
Hey, and if you don't know, now you know, brother.
So, guys, people at home, I want you to YouTube the word. I want you to YouTube search spell negus, Negus. There's a kid in the spelling bee, right? Yeah. And he has to spell the word, and he's like, again, they said negus.
Yeah, you send that.
Again. Nico, it's like a 60-second video. You guys check it out.
Is it funny?
This kid is shitting his pants, and he's like, "Can you say it again?" And they keep saying it, negus.
Because you use it in a sentence, please.
Yes, and at the end he said, "Use it in a sentence," and it's an African tribe. And then he goes, capital Negus,
guys,
and they're like, "You're correct," and he goes, "Oh God."
I can show you something
so fucking fast. He goes, "Oh God."
Let me say that fast. Say what's written right here fast. This is A&W live. It's live on their website. I was in college. This has been up for 20 years. I was in college. We're bacon and an egger. Bacon and egger. Look at this. Like
bacon and egger.
Yeah,
bacon and egger. I remember being in line 20 years ago in college with my Asian friend. We just finished playing basketball. No, I don't give a fuck, bro. I'm not politically
I want
correct,
that one.
like, but I'm looking at him. I'm like, before the like the N sign used to be an N apostrophe.
Bacon.
We're standing in line, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, look, bacon and egger." And then we're just like, you say it fast, right? There's no way to say it clean. Hold on. If I'm going to say it, I have to have the image. Bacon and egger. It comes from A&W. Don't fucking cancel me for this shit. I'm just reading what it's saying.
It's breakfast, guys. Yeah.
But how the fuck do they get away with this shit? Who's that fucking Karen that's like, that's the brand new sandwich. A&W. Bacon and egger.
Yeah,
and it's a hard ER too, huh?
Canadians,
it's not
get on
bacon
board.
And nigga. It's bacon and nigger.
I want that hat to say Managa.
Oh, bro, but that's a solid ER. It's the white way to say it. The ER, hard ER, not AZ. ER.
Guys, Negus. Look that up on YouTube.
Negus
is a spelling bee. The kid's in a spelling bee, and he's like. It took 60 seconds, and when he finally spelled it right, he went and hugged his parents. He was fucking like scared.
Scared. Yeah, scared shitless. Yeah.
And
Misfit says, if you take a step back and look at the big picture and how things could play out, it really looks like we're moving towards the North American Union. I mean, I think it's a valid topic of conversation. I think, especially if Alberta does leave and Canada's sort of floundering, that would make a lot of sense for Canada. I don't know if it would for America, but it's certainly an interesting thing to talk about.
I gotta write that down, Managa. Okay.
Managa. Yeah. What's up, Managa? I hope it happens just for that
All
reason.
right, Nico's trying to get off this. I'm so sorry, guys.
Just so
okay.
yeah. Just so we can say that. I hope it happens. Tenchi says,
I'm
me
just
Nico
trying not to get our YouTube channel canceled because
Yeah,
outside
that's
of
it.
here, I will use that word. I don't give a fuck. It's not meant in a racist way. It's meant in a way.
No, it's
where
meant in a breakfast way, man. I want it in a breakfast way.
But I grew up with black guys. You know how many times they called me a cracker, and I think it's fucking funny, and I'll use the hard ER on you. I'm not calling you the cool. Like, fuck. If we cannot make fun of each other, what else the fuck are we supposed to do?
I think know your environment.
Yeah,
You
know
know?
your audience.
Yeah. I'm not walking around not knowing guys and starting dropping the ER word. No, of course not.
Boy,
not a
go to
fucking
East
idiot.
New York, in Brooklyn.
Just like I wouldn't walk around and start calling people retarded that I don't know, right? I wouldn't start insulting people that I don't know, but my bros.
Yeah.
The fuck? There's no limit as to what you can tell me as my bro, but there's no limit as to what I can tell you as my bro. Either.
I think we just sort of need to focus on the intent behind things, right? If the intent is clearly not in a problematic or offensive way, I don't see why we need to make a big deal. Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
Unless it's towards Jason, then I am being.
Well, yeah,
racist.
of course. That's always obvious.
That
goes without saying.
Dig, right?
Nico's thick skin, right? Like,
dude,
I get it all. I'm good. Do you know why? Because I am incapable of solving real problems if I'm hysterical about imaginary ones. So
that's great.
We can't be a slave to language, right?
And it's sort of like
out of the language.
I think that's a great point. It's sort of like the argument that you might hear, like, there are some sort of activists that it seems like everything's racist or everything's sexist, everything's homophobic, and it's like if everything is those things, then nothing really is, right? And yeah, exactly. So I think there's definitely some boy who cried wolf stuff going on there. Tenchi says,
just before you do, if we cannot, the world is so fucked today. Everywhere you look, it seems that we're fucked. If we cannot make fun of each other and somehow make it comical, what the fuck is the point? What's the point?
Yeah.
If you cannot laugh at yourself, you cannot laugh at your friends. What the fuck's the point? So,
I agree. 100%.
Insult me all you guys want. In the comment section, you can insult me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. So,
well, yeah,
this
exactly.
I
grew up with brothers, right? And that's how you show affection is teasing each other and shooting.
Brothers, as in white guys.
No,
like
actual brothers.
Not like the brothers.
Not the brothers. I mean, I grew up in Nova Scotia, so it wasn't super diverse.
Okay, Mr. Clean.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yes.
Misfit just called me Mr. Clean. Have you ever seen what Mr. Clean looks like?
Yeah.
He is tall, he is buff, and he's always in.
He's a gay icon for a reason, man.
Nico without the goatee.
He's not a gay icon, bro.
Oh, he's a gay icon.
He's always
the gays love him.
He's always in women's houses when the husband's not around.
Oh,
you think he's cleaning floors? Shopping.
There's a reason why he's called Mr. Clean.
Yeah, he cleans up. He cleans up.
Shit, my wife does listen to this podcast.
No,
I'm not like Mr. Clean at all.
Yeah.
At all. Zero.
Oh my God, to the last drop.
Yeah.
That's what Carney said.
Yeah. Oh, good to the last drop. That's right. The Sasquatch says, we don't learn anything from Canada. Keep your... Jason, you want to take that?
Yes. Hold on. I'm going to go back. Let me drag this window right quick. And Donald Trump says... How do we do this?
We don't want anything from Canada. Keep your cars. Keep your steel. We have lots and lots of steel. Tell Ontario to keep Doug Ford. I'm not sure why you're here. Oh, everyone, that's it. Anti-Trump and ends the meeting.
Yeah, we have tremendous steel, the best steel.
You're not in the classroom. You're not at Q Forest High School in Queens. Put your hand down.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get that every time we have a Trump quote. We'll get you to come on and read it.
It'd be super easy. I have some AI softwares that can duplicate. I need 3 minutes of that voice made by Jason. I can make it say whatever the fuck I want.
That'd be hilarious.
The YouTube purposes one has got to go though. That's got to be paramount.
That's got to be there. That's
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And in
that
fact,
should be.
you should
Yeah.
have a 10-second drop the beat every time Rob hammers these fucking amazing points. Like Rob, like 30 minutes ago, said something that was so cool.
you
I
mean
wish
something that
there
I'll
was,
never
like, a
get to play?
10-second
Yeah.
like the dance with me thing.
About the
I'm a
media,
drop the beat
the
with
media,
Rob.
where if you just come at an issue with an open mind and honesty, even if you say your biases, you actually often get to a place where you are a free and fair, which is much more so than the media, who pretends to come at these issues from the get-go from a non-biased place.
Guys, and that's my confusion. Why do these people who want you to come to them for the news not doing their job, and they want you to be mad at people that are saying, do not come to me for the news?
Exactly.
You got guys saying, don't come to me for the news, and those are the people you want to cancel. The people in the beginning of their podcast are saying, look, this is just a conversation, relax.
Yeah,
But then the people who are getting paid millions of dollars to bring you the news are not delivering.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
The diagnosis? Sorry.
Yep. No,
But
and
it's a fact. It's not up for discussion at this point, especially not in Canada, right? Not only that, but they are telling us that they're the truth because they're the only source of mainstream information. That's always what it comes down to.
You know, it was a really major eye-opening event, I think, for the people who might be, you know, quote unquote normies, or not really, the people who tended to just accept most of what the media says, was the Joe Biden health decline thing. I see that again and again and again, is people saying something like, that was the eye-opening moment for me, that where media really dropped the ball. Because if you were on, you know, social media or X, you've already, for six months, a year, probably even a couple of years, you've seen video after video after video of Joe Biden, you know, doing a speech and then getting off and walking into the fucking, you know, just walking off into a field by himself, or having to be guided. And I think
looking for dead people in a room.
Exactly, right. And then at the same time, it wasn't even like the media ignored it, which would have been bad enough. They actively did damage control. They actively, you know, how many times do we hear, oh, my sources say he's sharp as a tack. Never been sharper. Never been on top. Like, and we all knew it was bullshit. We knew it was a lie. And then chickens came home to roost the day that the debate happened, because
there's a distinction between dropping the ball and refusing to pick it up, though, right? Like I think you're at least trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. They didn't drop the ball. They knew about this. In fact, a lot of these journalists, like Jake Tapper's writing, has a book out.
I saw that.
After, you know, during the 2020 election or 2022 election, he's kicking people off of his show. You're not a doctor. How dare you try to diagnose? And I mean, like, really going hard in the paint. He didn't say, I don't know, we don't know this. He picked a side over here. But then now it's time to sell his book, and now the gig is up. He's all the way over here, like, oh, it's a tragedy. I will land on this because I know we got to continue. They didn't drop the ball. They saw the ball, and they had no interest in picking it up.
That's right.
You know why? No more no more White House invitation for the press briefings. No more being in the room to ask the first question. No more exclusive interviews on CNN, you know, or the Wall Street Journal or whatever. You know, and at the end of the day,
journalism.
The Pulitzer Prize.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, the Pulitzer Prize was a couple of days ago, and no one knew. No one knew because all of the dominating nominees are from people that have a pattern for lying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think you're right. I do tend to want to give people in general the benefit of the doubt. But in this specific case, I know that they did. I know this was a mistake. They absolutely covered for Joe Biden intentionally, eyes wide open. And
they saw the ball, dude. They saw the ball, and they didn't pick it up. They didn't drop it. They didn't have it in their hands. They were not interested in picking it up. It was like a girl on the New York subway train station, right? And her purse drops, and a dildo drops out of her purse, right? And the dildo rolls from one, because the train's stopping, the dildo rolls from one end of the train car to the other, and everyone on the train sitting down does this. Just watch as it go by. I saw that. That's a New York City train star. I'll tell you guys.
Shit.
Maybe
Yeah, I want to hear this story.
maybe next week. I got a hard stop in 2 minutes. But that actually happened on a New York
Drew,
City train. There was a dildo that fell out of someone's purse, and the train broke, hit the brakes, and then it rolled. So everyone sitting down watched.
I wouldn't fucking touch that
roll
shit.
like it was a bowling. It looked like someone was going
Is
for
this
a
clean?
Yeah.
Is this clean?
Even
Yeah.
Mr. Clean wouldn't touch that shit.
No.
No, if I were bowling, that was a 7-10 split. Nobody touching that. That was
Drew,
between the pins,
no,
untouched.
touching that.
Drew Cover says it's all a mess. I just found this channel. Drew, couldn't agree more.
Bro,
Welcome. Appreciate.
I
the
really
comments.
hope this is you, because that is a very fucking masculine mustache. If that's you, brother,
Yo,
That's a
God
solid mustache,
damn.
brother.
how many
Magnum
porn
PI.
videos did you make in the 80s? I fucking love it. This
this
was
fucking
this is
millennial they have for Magnum PI right now. This man should bring the fucking stash
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
Magnum PI, man.
It's an award-winning
Fucking guy
stash.
with his clean-shaven face and this little light goatee, drinking his lattes. You know it. You know those guys.
Oh yeah.
Clean-shaven.
you're basically describing yourself
Yes,
without a
if there's
mustache.
anything I can't stand,
The New York
it's
Yankees
guy
hats,
sitting
giant
off the top,
cock,
driving
sugar
expensive
mama
cars
paying the
like
bills.
they're real men. Those people make me sick. We need a mustache, man.
Drew Cover 56 is saying this is all planned. We're just minions, but a million Canadians. Minion is better than a few loners. You know what, bro? You're not alone anymore. If you just found us,
Yep.
Yeah.
you found a community
this is
that you can be
replaced.
part of.
This is
Because,
growing.
bro, you better be clicking on that subscribe and that like, and obviously you're commenting. But thank you, Drew, for opening up the door for me to talk about membership and our
Yes.
Discord server, because
Right.
we do this. We spend hours a day doing this. We're not getting paid. Obviously, we just started the membership that you can see under membership under the website, under the YouTube channel. Something we started like last week. We get so many messages. It's a way to get priority in the message, but also opens the door for a Discord server where the type of conversation that you're seeing right now goes on 24 hours a day. We just started it a few days ago. We really have some active members, and I fucking love it. The idea of the Discord was a great fucking idea, but if you feel at home, if this is your type of conversation, if you're not scared of incorrect political comments, you need to subscribe, join the madness, and go to our Discord server.
Guys, I'm back next Wednesday. I got to bounce, but I'm actually going to wear a mustache next week, man.
Oh, you should, yeah.
I'm gonna go
Now,
get one.
you're inspired by
Yes.
Drew here. I mean,
Yep.
it's
Hey,
it is
real.
a
Remember, real manly men.
championship mustache. All right, brother.
Bro,
I got to go.
did you not
Sorry,
know me with a mustache, Jason?
Yes.
You saw
Yes.
me with a mustache, right?
Yeah.
Because I had like,
Oh, you
Big.
Matt Burton when I
oh,
met
bro, I could roll it up. Of course,
Oh
it's
yeah,
massive.
the
you.
Fu Man,
Fucking chef.
the Fu Manchu there.
No, have you ever seen oh shit, the guy, it's a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Gangs of New York.
Yep. Oh yeah.
The bad
that
guy.
movie.
Yes.
I
Bill
had the
the
same,
Butcher.
I
Daniel
had the
Day-Lewis.
same I had the same exact mustache then,
Yeah,
and
man.
it was like epic.
Yeah,
I'm
I
looking
didn't know
for
he was coming
pictures
to
right
chop
now.
down my tree. I'll fucking talk politics. But guys, I gotta go.
right,
I
Jason.
love you so much, guys.
Peace out,
You too.
Jason.
I
You too,
really,
brother.
I love all of you. I gotta jumping on to another podcast.
All right, brother. We'll
Have
see you
fun,
next week.
brother.
And guys, that is Jason. That is in the comments. He's usually here as NY Varsity Sports. So if you probably are familiar with him as well. Drew, welcome. Thanks for your comment. Sasquatch says my favorite video was Joe Biden wearing shades in the Amazon doing a press conference, giving Zelensky the green light to shoot our rockets in Russia. Then he walks off into the Amazon. I do remember that. That was hilarious. And it's just such a great example of like, the media, don't believe your lying eyes, right? Believe us instead. And
Yes.
and they, there's only so many times you can pull that lever. What's the saying? You can fool some people all the time and all the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And I think the media is learning that lesson right now the hard way.
Yeah, because they have alternatives like
Exactly.
what we do every
Like
day.
us.
Without the alternatives, it was very hard to be
Impossible.
sure that they were lying.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
It wasn't impossible, but you had to prove it. Now
You had to really
it's
do the
very
work.
easy to show. Yeah, 100%.
As Wise Guy says, at Clown World, that Sylvie has it exactly right. That's exactly what this is. We've officially landed in Idiocracy, the movie. Sasquatch walking from tree to tree. That's so funny. Duped, says Drew. Honey dicked, in fact, is exactly what
This is
happened.
such a great term.
Great term.
This
Love that.
is just like the twat term.
Twat
This
and
is
honey dicked. Yeah.
this is
Well,
definitely
Those
becoming
could go on. Those
one
could
of
go
my
on
words.
merch. Those could go on merch too, right?
Yeah.
Just have the honey emoji with the eggplant emoji. The political
I
orphans.
posted on our YouTube channel as we were going. I took the Carney, I put it in my template, and I said, "You got honey
Honey
and
dicked.
the dick emoji." Yep.
Therese
there.
says Carney is weak. Let's see how he deals with Danielle in Alberta. It's not elbows up for Carney. It's hands up. Yeah, I think Danielle is gonna eat his lunch. I was not impressed by what I saw yesterday against Trump, and if that's Danielle Smith keeps impressing me, to be honest. I just think she's just a smart, intelligent leader.
She's very witty.
Yep.
Like that is one thing, that
on the
was one of my
spot,
main,
right? On the spot.
That's what witty is. Yeah, that's one of my strength as a person. Like I can come up with some really dumb shit right off the bat.
Mhm.
But as a politician or as a leader, you need to be able to do that. Like Trump is very witty when it comes to that. Like he's capable of coming up with catchphrases all the time. But you looked at Pierre Poliev and you looked at Carney.
That's why Poliev
both of them-
doesn't do those interviews.
No,
In
I
fact,
believe so. But
should we
Daniel
say-
Smith is very witty. Sorry, like she's able to come up with that stuff. Like she took question from the journalists. I'm gonna air quote this shit, but she took questions live yesterday, not phased at all. The guy barely started his question. She was on her cell phone to be able to quote exactly what she stands for. Like she's just very quick. Quick. I'm impressed by her.
Yep. All right. So let's say Sasquatch says, continuing that vein, I hope Danielle does the same thing to Carney as Trump did. Get the press there and say hi. I think Sasquatch, you're in America? Are you not? I believe he
Yes.
is.
He
Okay.
said we
cool.
were his favorite Canadian show.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Zing
I
zing.
appreciate that,
I
brother.
remember that.
Yep.
At
Love
least that's what I heard. Even if he
We're-
didn't say it, I'm saying he said it.
We're we're gonna assume that he said it. Don't burst our bubble. Let us have that.
Yes.
Mr. Robot says the West is in moral decay and can't define what a woman is, but China is building all this cool tech. We are doomed. LOL. That's a great point, and I think there's a lot of meat on that bone. You could probably do a whole show on it.
Don't open that door. Don't open that door because that's Rob's door.
Well,
He's gonna jump in.
down. No, I won't go it down. But I will say I do believe
Please.
the next probably 30, 40 years of global politics is going to be a new Cold War with China taking the place of the Soviet Union. So it's going to be China against the West. And, maybe the case could be made that it would be better if China actually won that. It would be an interesting debate. Certainly there's some things I really, really strongly dislike, like the social credit score system. But they know what a woman is. They've got some common sense over there that we don't.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of them. They're still socialist / communist.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't want them to win. I'd rather the US wins.
I agree.
I'd rather have a bit of craziness, as in some people question what a woman is, than having a social credit score, than having the government owning everything, and me having to be very happy that the government lets me eat and not die. Yeah, no, not interested in that. I'd rather have the craziness we have now.
In practice, they're much more capitalist than they let on. But yes, officially and in other ways, they still.
But they're not capitalist. The government is. But that's what communism is. If you look at communism, it's all about money. It's just that you don't get to have any and you don't get to control it. It's the people at the top part of the party that gets to do that. But communism is not against money. It's just who gets to have that money and who gets to control it. Capitalism is about everybody is supposed to be able to reach a high net worth because you have the possibility to do it. Communism is all about just having all the power given to Big Brother, that is the state, that is the government, and they're the only people that can do anything. And be grateful for the scraps that we give you.
Well, yeah, they in theory they try to do away with elites, but of course that ignores human nature. There will always be elites, no matter what system you design. Drew says India is coming up, especially with USA backing. Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the show. I think if you're referring to sort of what's going on in India right now versus Pakistan, those are topics we are going to sort of cover on the show, especially as that story develops a little bit more.
And it will develop, like we said before, it will develop in Canada, considering
there will be an absolutely
massive amount of Indians,
Canadian angle. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Misfit with some dropping some absolutely common sense. Boys do have a penis and girls have a vagina, and it's wild that we are in a position where there's probably 50% of the population, or maybe 40%, who will pretend that is a radical statement or a full of hate. And
well, you know what he's quoting, right?
Oh yeah, Kindergarten Cop.
One of the greatest videos ever made. But
boys have a penis, girls have
and girls have a vagina. See, this is what I wanted to show. This is what I.
Oh my God, that is a mustache! Holy hell!
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. You should grow that back. That's
yeah. If my wife is listening to this, she's gonna want to smack you.
She hates it, does she?
Oh, fuck. To her, she likes when I look like a douchebag. You know, like just the 5-day little beard, douchey beard. That's what she likes. Yeah. I like the mustache, but I always change my facial hair every couple of months.
I noticed that. I noticed that.
If she sees me trying to grow a mustache, oh, you know what? That should be one of the polls. Should I grow a mustache again?
Who wants a mustache ride? That's really funny.
But that's so that you know what's disgusting when it's that long, because I have big lips, right? And it covers the lips. Everything gets stuck into it. It's so nasty.
Gross.
It's gross. Disgusting. That's why I shaved it.
I'm gonna play a clip here just because it's only 17 seconds. It's relevant to what we're talking about, the body language and the initial meet between Carney and Trump. Just look at this. All right, is it showing up there? Yeah.
Yep.
Just like, noodle wrists, like it's sort of slunched over. I mean, Trump looks like a caveman. He's just like, but like, if in this fight, or who's going to get better, I'm taking the guy on the left.
He is just a tiny little man. Tiny little man.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely. Did we want to play the Polyev Joe Rogan thing, just since we were talking about that?
Yeah, since we don't have the time to cover the Daniel Smith stuff, because
we can do that tomorrow. And to be honest, it's probably better tomorrow, because I would like to get like actual clips of the specific questions that were asked. They'll probably be better. We'll have the time for that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I'll always take the commenting like
any day
overdoing this. This is why the Discord server is such a great place to continue this conversation and talk about more of what we did so great to cover. Yep. And Drew, thanks for your comments, bro. Again, killer fucking mustache. Now people are laughing at it, right? How much for a mustache ride? That is fucking weird. Oh shit! I did say it. I did show a picture with me with a mustache. So I don't know if he's talking to me.
He is. He's talking to you.
Drew. No, but I gotta tell you, Misfit, I'm not cheap. I'm not. Because look at them lips, bro. You know I got
to make it worth your while.
Yeah. I will. Yep. You got to make it worth it, because I fondle the balls and I swallow the gravy. Fuck, where did I get that from? Fuck, that's a movie. That's a comedy. Right?
It is from. I've heard it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not that clever. This does not come from me at all. What were you? Oh yeah, shit. Hold on. Let me show this. Yeah, you were talking about the video that Joe Rogan released yesterday, and I'm not surprised. Like we talked about it. Like there's no way that he had not received an invitation, right?
Yeah,
we said it during the campaign. If Maxime Bernier went on PBD and PBD wanted to have Pierre Poliev, if he went on Tucker Carlson, if he went on Alex Jones, you know that Pierre Poliev got invited to every single major podcast. And here's what Joe Rogan said about this yesterday.
I've emailed the White House to put a 25% tariff.
Hold on. There you go.
Email the White House to put a 25% tariff on Nico's mustache. Yeah, that would fund the national debt. I think that would pay off the deficits down in.
But isn't it a great mustache though?
It is a great mustache.
It was fucking out of control.
It's all women are always the fucking buzzkills when it comes to great facial hair.
No, but
it's always the girlfriend or the wife who's like, no, don't like it.
Oh no, but I don't give a fuck. My wife can say she doesn't like my goatee, so I don't care. I'm just gonna. I never shaved my face because of her. She always is very happy when I do.
Yeah.
But she knows, she's learned a long time ago that she doesn't hold that power. The same way as I can't tell her how her hair is. I don't have hair. The only thing I have is facial hair. I can't grow hair on top of my head.
That's right. That's all we got. So, let us have this.
You can tell me to shave it off and just be, I think my wife is smart enough to know that if you tell me not to do something, I'm just going to continue doing it. The day that you show that you don't care, it's going to be the perfect excuse for me to get rid of it. So yes, Sylvie. And that's exactly why this right there is the exact reason why men look younger without facial hair. Yes. That's exactly what my wife tells me. That's why she wants me to shave.
But for me, I've got this baby face, and I just look like this ridiculous 40-year-old baby. It's stupid.
We saw the pictures from the military yesterday.
Yeah, it sucks.
Keep the beard, bro. Keep the beard.
Yeah. It doesn't work.
So let's address. Here's the video for. Oh shit! The only thing. Hold on. See, my wife can hear me, right? She's like, this I'm reading off of WhatsApp. No fucking mustache, please. But you can't keep anything past a few weeks.
Yeah,
bro, we've been recording for 4 months. How many times have I'm gonna shave, I'm gonna let it grow. I'm always changing it. So
Sylvie busting some balls. At the moment, Nico, you look at day over 51. Hi-oh.
That sucks because I'm 42, I think, 43. I can't remember. 42, 42, 43.
43. Yeah, I do that too sometimes, especially if it's only a few months after my birthday. It's like, what am I?
Yeah, whatever. So we'll finish on this, but goddamn, I really like the interactions that we're having.
Oh, I'll take that to 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, just give me a second. I got the video right here. So here's what Joe Rogan, super small video, had to say about Pierre Poliev yesterday.
I offered to have that Pierre guy come on the podcast.
Really?
He didn't do it. Wouldn't do it. Thought it was too problematic. Or whatever. Jordan told me, I forget what he said, but they were telling him not to do it. Like his advisors were telling him not to do it. Hey, dumbass.
You know what's funny about this is that Joe Rogan called him Pierre. Like, that's how much not important
that Pierre guy. He did that.
That guy is like, of course, he's not stupid. Yeah. Don't underestimate. Joe Rogan's fully aware that he has one of the most popular platform on the planet. He knows. He's been doing it for a very long time. He fucking knows the impact that he has. But this is hilarious. But at the same time, we talked about this so much during the campaign, how we did not like the fact that both Carney and Poliev did not have the balls to go on major platforms, on platform that would not be just throwing low ball questions. Like I think it's Nick on the Discord posted earlier that she just posted about how Pierre Poliev went on Jordan Peterson's podcast. But if you listen to it, it was a low ball interview. Like Peterson clearly wanted to make Pierre Poliev look good. He was not there to question Pierre Poliev. But that's what's dangerous about a guy like Joe Rogan, because you have no fucking clue where he's going to go with this. And he's extremely well researched. Like, this is a guy that spends a lot of time reading and researching online just because he loves it. So you don't know. It's very dangerous to go on Joe Rogan if you're not confident. He's gonna throw he's high most of the time and he's drinking. He's on his show smoking weed and drinking. So he doesn't drink anymore supposedly, but all to say that he will call you out. If you say something dumb, he'll challenge you, and it's not going to be from a bad place. It's going to be fair. That's what I like about Joe Rogan. He's normally fair. He's not there to make you look stupid, but if it makes you look stupid, he's not going to apologize for it either.
Yeah, I agree. And it's kind of like, so Sylvia here says Polly Von Rogan would have run out of slogans after 30 minutes. Yeah, I think she's kind of hitting the nail on the head there. And it's like we were talking about Danielle Smith a few minutes ago. You use the word witty. She's sharp, right? She could go on Rogan for an hour and a half.
She could do podcast, no problem.
Because if you're intelligent and you know your topics, especially if you know that you genuinely believe that you're right, or you're at least on the right side, it's easy. It's not hard at all. You know, you don't need to have just a list of topics that you can talk about, and those are the only things. You can tell when you see a guy like Polyev, and even most politicians, they you know, every time they answer a question, they're doing the math in their head, they're calculating every single word, they're running it through, you know, the focus groups that they've done to make sure that they're not offending any specific special interest group. And it's nonsense. People are sick of it. Just get out there and fucking talk. And if you fuck up, if you make a mistake, own it. But like, no one's gonna, people are gonna cut you some slack, especially if you say, oh, you know what, I misspoke, let me say that again. That's fine. That's authentic. People like that.
How many times have I done this on the show? I did it today, where I said something. No, but I said something, and I'm like, you know what? Good point. Let me rephrase what I just said.
Yeah.
Because what's wrong with what's wrong? It blows my mind that you and I can do what we're doing right now, taking comments. We get the trolls, we get the people that agree, that disagree, but the point is to drive the conversation. How did they not do that? Pierre Polyev on X alone has a 1.4 million follower. That's the size of his audience that he did not have prior to being prior to running. Like, since he's been running, it's been growing and growing and growing. How hard would it have been for him to set up his cell phone on a tripod and set up a little wireless microphone that costs about $100 on Amazon? Just take questions from his base. You don't even need to fucking have a topic. Just say, guys, I'm between two meetings right now. I'm gonna be in Alberta today. I'm gonna be in Vancouver giving a rally, guys. If you want to meet me, if you want to come see me, make sure to be at that place.
They have no idea
I just want to talk to you guys. How you guys doing? How are you feeling about this election? Do you think that I'm doing a good job? What do you think, you guys? What do you guys think I should do? Is there something you don't think I'm doing enough on? What's your opinion? I want to hear from you guys. Guys, your opinion matters. You're Canadians. I want your vote. How do I get your vote? Let me try to convince you. Pow, that's it. Intro. I just made it off the bat. How the fuck is this the people responsible for his campaign not telling him that? And how is he not just, this is it, that's it, right there? I can do that right fucking there. I don't need the permission of anybody. I can do it right now. How the fuck did he not do that? It blows. Can you imagine how authentic that would have been?
There's such a hunger for that kind of thing, that kind of authenticity. And you don't have to be perfect. In fact, it's probably better to not be perfect, because it makes you seem authentic. It makes you seem like a normal person. That just that alone would be seen as a radical act, because no politicians are doing that. You would get so much press, and you would get people who are saying, you know what, maybe I don't necessarily believe everything this guy believes, but I respect that. I like that. And you get to drive the narrative. The media drove the narrative on Polyev. The media is the one who convinced 40% of the population that he's a mini Trump, that he's far right, you know, with no pushback whatsoever. It's and I know what you mean, because it's sort of frustrating. We're just a couple of guys, a couple of yahoos shooting the shit in our houses. And you know, if we can figure this out, why can't the guy who has access to the highest paid advisors? His advisors really did him a huge disservice.
Yeah, that's one of the few comments. Sasquatch saying Pierre's advisors voted for Carney. Pierre's advisors fucked this campaign. Pierre should have been on every podcast. He could have
completely changed the narrative. Because what a lot of these people don't understand is the mainstream media is a filter. Even giving a speech, that's a filtered, like, what they want to see is cut that part out. They want to see who you are as a person. They want to see the real you. I don't think anyone feels like they saw the real Pierre Polyev. Nope. I know I didn't.
And I've been told, and I've referred to this before, but I've been told behind the scenes that he stands for very similar things that you and I stand for.
Yeah.
But I'm like, and they're like, oh, guy,
because he never said it.
Guy, you got, I was told by multiple people, multiple influencers on Instagram, they're like, hey, you need to stop sharing this stuff. You need to stop talking ill of Pierre Polyev. Wait before he wins. I wouldn't even be surprised if some people actually blame guys like me for talking against him, for losing him the campaign. But you know what's fucking hilarious about that? If that's all it takes, for you to lose your campaign is a dude with 200,000 followers, bitch, you're not doing your job properly.
Yeah.
Like you said yesterday, do better.
Yeah.
If that's all it takes, imagine a world leader with a social media that belongs to him. What is he gonna do? What is he gonna do to you? If
Yeah.
I'm the one that derails your campaign, Jesus, are you kidding me? And Sylvie has a good point here. Bernier is also very good at answering any questions. No script needed. And we can
was on the
attest to
show.
that. We
Yeah.
had him on the show and we gave him an idea. In all transparency, he did ask, like his helper asked,
Broad
where do you
topic.
guys want to go? No, but where do you guys want to go? As in, how much time do we have
Yep.
in order? Because he's like, we have half an hour to an hour. This is what we got. So keep it clean. But he didn't ask for the questions. That's the thing. He can answer it. And I agree with Sylvie. He was able to answer all the questions the way he wanted it. He didn't hesitate. The only thing that's very costly to Maxime Bernier, I've said it before, and as a guy with a French accent, it's his French accent. He needs to at least develop an English like mine, or else he will never be elected, because nobody in Alberta is going to vote for a Frenchie. Yeah,
it holds him back.
It's like Nick is saying, it's like their reaction when Pierre commented on biological clocks. They should have defended him. Yeah, I totally agree. But at the same time, Pierre didn't drive that topic home. Like we spoke about this before. That should have been one of his top 5 issues, where men are not women. Plain and simple. Putting a dress on does not make you a woman.
He let other people drive the narrative about himself, and when he should have been driving the narrative.
If you don't have access to mainstream media, or you know that mainstream media is going to paint you the way that you are not, the way that they want, do every single podcast out there.
It's your only hope. It's your only hope.
We're the only thing that goes counter mainstream media is podcasts like the one we're running right now.
Yep.
Can you imagine if he would have had when we did with Maxime Bernier, we were at the beginning, it was not like today. We were getting like 10 comments an episode. Today, having Maxime Bernier or any other politician on, we would get thousands of fucking comments. Can you imagine if people just got access to politicians and just be able to ask them questions when they're running? You don't even need to run the platform. That's a message for you guys out there. Why not? The technology's there. People own the platforms. So maybe one day we'll become those gatekeepers. If you want to have access to critical thinkers, to common sense Canadians and Americans, if those are the people you're trying to reach, this is where you need to go.
And guys, if you only started watching the last week or two, we actually do bring guests on a fairly amount. We've had some pretty interesting guests. We did have Maxime Bernier, but we also had
we don't need the guests. That's the thing, right? We'll bring them up when there's something trending and it needs to be addressed, and we're not the experts. We'll bring the people on.
Like, for example, the Alberta separation issue. It'd be great to have like a constitutional lawyer or something. But and if you do have suggestions, people you'd like to see on, just bring it up. I think there's even a spot on the Discord server for that.
There is.
Thing. Yeah.
Sam Cooper is somebody that Nick suggested that we get on the show. He is a Canadian journalist. He's very clever.
Is he the guy from BC?
I believe so.
I think we were thinking about having back on, because is that the one where we saw the interview with him talking about China and the Five Eyes? Why America?
No, maybe, but that was a couple of months ago. But I believe that I might have, now that I'm thinking about it, I might have an access to him. I might know someone that knows him. I'm just trying to see if that's the same guy. No, it's not the same guy.
Okay.
Either way, I added him if I'd like to have him on too.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Sylvie says, or she's talking to Misfit, but she says Polyev is not strong enough to go off script. I mean, well, I assume he's not, because he doesn't do it.
Yep.
But if he is, he absolutely should be doing it if he is. But the only lesson we can assume is that he's not strong enough, because he's not doing it.
I don't see what else it could be. Like this is I do not see how this would have been against him, how this would have been bad for him, because the left-leaning media was already painting him as mini Trump.
Yeah.
The only way he could fight that is be able to have a platform that could reach more people that are in fucking Canada and explain his side of the story, then have his team create hundreds of videos off of the Rogan podcast. That's all he could have had. That's all he had to do.
He could have so many.
And you know what, Tenshi, I totally agree with you. I guarantee that Pierre went on Joe Rogan, he would have probably have won the 18 to 28 votes. The truth in the matter is, this is something I've been drumming since the election. In Canada, when it comes to the voters that are 18 plus, 36% of them have listened to at least one podcast in the past month. Please tell me how going on the biggest podcast, arguably the biggest podcast on the planet, was not a good idea. Especially when you know that that guy wanted you on. The only reason I could see this is that his team knew that he's not good enough to sustain a conversation for 2.5 hours, or that he will say something that he can take back, which to me is the same thing. But goddamn, we need to stop thinking that we don't make mistakes. Politicians are not fucking special people. No. They're not. They're just fucking human beings. If you make a mistake and you say something you shouldn't have, guess what? Apologize for it and move the fuck on. You just look like a coward by not wanting to go on those podcasts. The door was open. Literally, the door was open. Joe Rogan has the power. He's a kingmaker. How many people went on Rogan that had, there's a dude I wanted to have. He's a Christian guy, very clever guy out of Toronto. I was approaching him to get on my podcast. He had like 40,000 followers. I'm like, fuck, this guy, I have more followers than him. He's going to come on my show. Never answer. Next thing you know, he's arguing with one of the most renowned guys on the planet, completely dismantle him in a one-on-one debate, appears on Joe Rogan 2 days after. Now he has like 500,000 followers or something stupid like that. That is the power that Joe Rogan has to take you from a small guy online to a fucking kingmaker, and our politicians are not taking advantage of that. Like, what the fuck? Who the fuck are you listening to? And even if you want to blame the advisors to Pierre Poliev's advisors for what they did, he chose those advisors, and as a leader, he chose to listen to them. That's on him 100%. This team's not to blame; he's to blame.
Yep, absolutely. Sasquatch Chronicles, American youth, especially males, vote for Trump. It's because he was on all of their favorite podcasts. Yeah, that's a great point. And 100%. It's not just about, you know, whoever you can convince on the show. Like, for example, let's say Pierre goes on Rogan's podcast. He comes off as likable, sort of charming, and he definitely does not come off as any sort of far right or even a mini Trump. Now he's got, let's say he convinced a couple 100,000 people, but now those couple 100,000 people are out in the real world and they hear someone say something like that. Oh, yeah. Polyev, he's just a mini Trump. Now they're going to say something like, oh, no, he's not, because I saw him on Rogan and here's what he said, or blah, blah, blah. Like that's how this stuff works. It filters out throughout all society, even among people who didn't necessarily watch the show or might not watch Rogan. That kind of success builds on itself. It's just, it makes so much sense. And especially once you saw the polls were going so hard against him, I don't understand why he didn't shake it up. He just kept doing the exact same thing. And of course, what ended up happening was he lost the election.
The thing is, the amount of content he could have created. Joe Rogan, people
Just
might
from
not
that one
know
interview.
This, but Joe Rogan records in the afternoon, like 3 to 5, 3 to 6. By 7 or 8 at night, that episode's live. Like that episode, whatever he records 3 to 4 podcasts a week on the same day, they're released. So he could have got one of his team member, whoever makes his video, because he has some good guys. There's some of the videos that he released are fucking solid. They're well, as somebody that edit content for a living, there's a lot of great fucking videos out there that came from Pierre Poliev. But can you imagine a 3-hour conversation? How much and you're talking high quality video. Like, this is not a fucking you and I right now. It's 3 cameras, two's on you, two's on Rogan. Great microphone, perfect setting, perfect lighting, and you can say whatever the fuck you want. There's no censorship on Rogan. You can go wherever the fuck you want. It would have been perfect. It would have been perfect for him, because there could have been 20 reels made out of that episode, if not more.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
On top of the 1.5 million view to 2 million to 3 million views alone, the full episode would have made. It's insane.
Well, probably more people would have watched it just on those clips from social media than would have listened to the show.
And the left would have sold that to him, would have sold that to their base, saying, can you believe that mini Trump went on Joe Rogan?
Of course.
No publicity is bad publicity.
Yeah.
So the boomers that will never vote for you would have talked about you day in, day out. The people that did not know anything about you would have had a chance to see who you are. And all the people that were part of your base that fucking suck your dick every day would have created reels for you that they would have posted everywhere. You could have walked away. Nothing more to do. You could have flew down there, flew to Austin, Texas, take a flight the day before. Joe Rogan likes to sit. I don't know if you know this, but Joe Rogan likes to go to dinner with his with the people that he interviews the day before.
That's a good idea.
And then
just feel them out, get a sense of who they are.
Of course. That's why his podcasts are so good. When you're prepared, it's a very different fucking story, right? But it's just there's no downfall outside of him exposing that he's not able to do those type of interviews. That's all he did.
100%. As Sylvie says, he may have actually lost votes going on podcast due to his weakness. If he is that weak, then I guess that's why he didn't go on them. But of course, if he's that weak, then yeah, he probably shouldn't be prime minister.
Ding, 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 ding. Microphone drop. Get the fuck out. Close the show. We're done. That's it. You're absolutely right. If he can't handle Joe Rogan, you're gonna handle Putin. You're gonna handle Trump. You're gonna handle the leader of the communist country of China. Sure, cool story, bro. Cool story.
Sasquatch says Trump actually won because of Gen X. It's actually fact.
Because of men. Actually, if you look at the exit polls, it was men. White, black, orange, purple, Hispanic, brown. Did not matter. Men won him the election. And you know what was brilliant? It's reported that it's his son that told him to do that. Barron is there was rumors saying that Barron is the one that told his father, you need to do podcasts like Joe Rogan. Because think about it, the 18 to 35 have never trusted mainstream media. They've been told from the get-go, they grew up with this shit. I remember a time where this did not exist. Even the flippies, I had a fucking pager. I remember my dad with a StarTAC Motorola. That's like a fucking weapon. Like he can throw that shit in the wall breaks. But I remember a time without technology, without phone, without social media. The 18 to 25 have no fucking clue what that means. Facebook has been invented in 2008. That's almost 20 years ago. They have no fucking clue what it is to have a life without social media. So you're going to try to reach them on CBC or on traditional media source when you have a bunch of fucking content creators out there? Of course, you're an idiot. That was the dumbest thing they've ever done, is preventing him to go. If he did one podcast, it should have been Joe Rogan. Plain and simple.
100% agree. Sasquatch continues. I think we've had enough of the woke nonsense. The left is not paying attention. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. That's basically exactly it. I mean, probably the best way to describe myself is an anti-woke, a liberal. And you know, there's a lot of other, you know, we're still a minority, but there is enough people out there like me, who are just liberals, or at least traditionally have been liberals, classical liberals, and are just as disgusted and fed up with the woke nonsense as people on the right as well.
Bro, Drew, you found a place, man. We better see you again, because all the comments you're dropping are fucking cool.
The wall hate that I look like a man.
especially when I'm a next linebacker from the States and I'm not a small dude. Men need to stay men, and women need to respect that.
Yeah, you fit in here.
Not only respect that, but they need to embrace it, because men enable women to be feminine.
Well, what's ironic is in real life, even many of the women who are out there talking about like toxic masculinity, when you actually are a man around them, they do embrace it. Like even those types of women are very attracted to, you know, broadly speaking, straight women are attracted to masculinity, and it just is what it is.
You know, one of my friends used to tell me that he's definitely a conservative, and he used to say, you know, all those, you know, who feminists come to get fucked. He's like, me.
Yeah,
they will parade in the streets saying that we want equality, we want equality, we want,
and the guys that are with them, they don't fuck them.
The beta males that are with them are not getting any action. It's the guys that tend to be very masculine, and that's what at the end of the day, that's what women want. And lie to yourself all you want, you're just full of shit. But Drew, I think you'll fit right in, brother.
Agreed. What do you think? Probably end her there. Put a fork in it.
Put the fork in it because we are done.
We're done. 2 hours and 40 minutes. Guys, thank you so much for being here. As always, you could have been anywhere in the world today, but you chose to be here with us, and we always appreciate that. Nico and I, we can't be happier with how this community is starting to come together and come into shape. And, you know, everyone here it contributes so much, both during the show as well as the Discord server that we put up is really starting to get built out. If you're new here and you want to support us, if you like what we're doing, if you think there's a need for this kind of a thing out there, this kind of political discourse where, you know, people can have differing opinions and not be getting shit on, we're going to respect your opinion and your right to say it. Best way to support us is to join as a member. I think you can do so from the YouTube channel. It starts at $2.99 a month, so it is absolutely it's definitely affordable, and that will give you access to the Discord channel, as Misfit says here. The Discord channel is basically where a place we created to continue what we do here over there. You'll get full access to that as a member, as well as during the show here, you're going to get priority for your comments. So if you guys like what we're doing here, if you support it, if you want to be part of this community, you know, as you know, Drew is a newcomer here and he seems like he's going to fit right in perfectly. Again, that's the best way to support us. And even if you're not quite sure about that yet, just stick around, come back tomorrow, comment on the shows, like, share. And I think you'll see that this is definitely a place worth supporting. There aren't too many places like this on the internet, and I think me and Nico and all the people who are regulars here in this community, I think we all see that this is something special that we're building.
And funny enough, just to show you how different we are, yesterday Northern Hillbilly was kind of trolling, and I put him in a corner. Like, let's be honest, I put him in a timeout. He came back and he's been respectful ever since. And he actually came back today. But this is the type of environment that we're creating. 100%.
And I do think
this is the Discord that we want. We want to be able to disagree, politely disagree, show our work, and agree to disagree, agree to agree, whatever. The whole point's to have that conversation. I speak truth.
No, for sure. I think, you know, in Hillbilly's defense, I think in some ways the internet trains us to come in like that, to just come in and hit hard and just, you know, all caps. And I think it takes a few seconds to realize this is a different kind of place. But I think as soon as he did, he sort of got the vibe 100%. And now he's in there contributing. And so it's a great example of, you know, what we think that this community is all about and the space that we created. And it's, you know, me and Nico might have sort of created this, but it's nothing without you guys and what you bring here. So again, we can't say how much we appreciate that and how happy we are with the way this is coming together.
Oh, Jesus, hold on. Can I finish with this? Sasquatch is saying that Northern Hillbilly is our Quebec. He might be a jerk, but he's our jerk. Brother,
that's a great
I'm from
comment.
Quebec, and I fucking I endorse this message. It's fucking hilarious.
That's a great comment. Nick, I agree with that as well. She says many women are more toxic than men. Yeah, and I, you know, I've heard that it said, like, you know, why do we even use words like toxic masculinity? There's toxic behavior, right? And it can be females doing it or males doing it. And I like that way of thinking. I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
Toxic masculinity is only toxic when there's a lack of masculinity.
Yeah, exactly, right. And these are topics that we are going to we do discuss. We haven't talked about it a little bit lately. We've a bit obviously.
You're into LGBTQ stuff. I am a man rights activist. I've been on some of the biggest platforms on the planet for talking about it. So we can't enter that because or else this is my rabbit hole. So let's not start that.
Yeah, the trans
2 hours and 45.
The men's rights thing is Nico.
245 minutes in, we're not entering that subject.
No. We're not going down that rabbit hole. But
catchphrase for the end, and we'll call it a day because this is a dangerous fucking topic.
Guys, great show today. As always, appreciate the contributions, appreciate the engagement. We will check you tomorrow, noon Eastern time, and we'll get right back into her.
Peace out.
Agreed, Misfit. We will at some point, not right now. Peace, guys.